Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. After being spotted by the vampire school beauty, I got numb. Chapter 41. The three of them came to the outside of a villa. Lin Tai took out the key from his pocket and opened the door. This villa is located relatively to the west, and there are no traces of Lin's blood clan members nearby. Amidst the gloomy forest, the door of the villa is open. Looking inside from outside the villa, it was dark inside and nothing could be seen clearly. The next moment, Su Jie's eyes flashed with blood-red light, opening the vampire vision. A hazy web of blood red shrouded his eyes, and everything became clear. Vampire vision is particularly sensitive to objects in the dark, like a night vision device. It's just that objects seen through the vampire's vision will be covered with a faint layer of blood red, but this does not particularly affect the look and feel, and will only cause a certain visual deviation. Su Jie watched everything in the villa. The decoration inside the villa is relatively simple. Facing it is a marble staircase with wide corridors on both sides. You can reach the living room of the villa through the corridors on both sides. The ceiling light was off, probably because it had been unoccupied for too long. The moment Lin Tai opened the door, dust suddenly billowed in the villa. Lin Tai frowned slightly when he saw this, and then stretched out his right hand. Call out. A streak of blood-red energy quickly flipped and expanded in his palm. When it expanded to the size of a dinner plate, he waved it out. The blood energy turned into a large net with extremely small gaps, covering all the dust. The entrance hall and vestibule in front of me suddenly took on a new look. Su Jie was secretly shocked. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it would be hard for him to imagine that blood energy could be used in such a way. Blood energy is like Tiger Bomb, it will have certain magical effects in any situation. After thinking about it divergently, isn't this the same as the spiritual power in the novel about cultivating immortals? In many immortality novels, as long as you can think of anything, you can do it by stimulating spiritual power. It is simply turning decay into magic. After sweeping away the dust from the villa, Lin Tai showed a satisfied smile. Zhao King, just rest here first. I'll get you some fresh blood and I'll be back in a while. After speaking, Lin Tai patted Lin Shiqing's shoulder. Lin Shiqing was unhappy because of Yi Hui's matter, but at this moment, she still managed a smile. You are such an enthusiastic uncle, Su Jie said thoughtfully as he watched Lin Tai's back disappear at the end of the woods. He has always been like this. Lin Shiqing nodded. Uncle Tai is very good to me. When I was young, he would often spread his blood wings and take me through the mountains and forests. Blood wings. Su Jie was stunned. Uncle Tai has already reached the barren realm, so he can activate blood energy and grow a pair of blood wings. As long as you have blood wings, you can travel between heaven and earth at will. You can only fly when you reach the level of Baron. I really hope that one day I can become a Baron. Quote. Lin Shiqing said expectantly. Just like in the movie, Wandering in the Sky. Just thinking about it, I already feel the wind of freedom blowing against my face. Su Jie nodded and suddenly remembered that there was something else he wanted to ask Lin Shiqing. By the way, I have to ask you something. Although I know the general realms of your vampire clan, are there any signs of difference between these realms? You say I am the last vampire, but what level of strength should I be? Quote. Su Jie felt the blood energy surging in his lower abdomen. Another day had passed and his blood energy had recovered by 1/3. Including the previous recovery, he now has more than half of the blood energy stored in his body. He knew very well that the quality and quantity of his blood energy were inferior to Lin Shiqing's, but at what stage was he at? First level or second level? Lin Shiqing thought for a moment and then answered. I thought you knew how to check, but actually if you want to know for sure, you have to learn to look inside. When others observe your strength, they can only roughly judge it from your blood energy fluctuations, and cannot accurately determine what level you are. There are also ways to suppress blood gas fluctuations. If blood gas fluctuations are suppressed, it will also lead to biased judgment. I just felt the fluctuations in your blood energy. Your strength should be around the early stage of the first level, but because your blood energy has not yet returned to its peak, this result is not absolutely accurate and will fluctuate. In my opinion, your accurate strength should be in the middle or even late stage of the first order. Quote. Lin Shiqing's words made Su Jie nod slightly. What do you mean by looking inside? What should I do? You can practice it yourself, but that would be too slow. Forget it, let me guide you to learn inner vision. As the name suggests, inner vision is to feel the situation inside your body. You need to focus on a certain part of your body to achieve a state of seeing and observing. The place where blood energy is stored, that is, the lower abdomen, is called blood pill. This is an Eastern saying. In the West, it is called blood source, literally translated as the source of blood. But it doesn't seem to matter how it is called. If you can look inside and observe your blood pill, you will see a crescent-shaped blood moon symbol on the blood pill. In the last generation of vampires, 1 waning moon is the first level, 9 waning moons are the 9th level, and the 9 rounds combined into 1 are the crescent moon, which marks the breakthrough to the realm of Baron. Quote. Soo-jae listened carefully, feeling overwhelmed by the huge amount of information. I can activate my blood energy and guide you to gradually look inside until you can see your own blood pill. While saying this, Lin Shiqing naturally took Soo-jae's hand. Soo-jae was stunned and subconsciously followed Lin Shiqing's steps. Lin Shiqing's hands were cold and silky, making Soo-jae feel slightly absent-minded. This should be the first time she takes the initiative to hold his hand, right? The two of them walked through the dark corridor and the living room with a slight smell of decay, and arrived at the bedroom. The furnishings in the bedroom are very simple, with no extra decorations or items, only a bed and a coffin. The coffin is dark brown as a whole and is made of fur. The bed next to it looked like it hadn't been slept on for a long time and was already gathering dust. Take off your clothes now, Lin Shiqing said calmly. Lin Shiqing's words were so shocking that Soo-jae couldn't react for a moment. Just take off the top. As for the bottom, keep it on. Lin Shiqing realized something and immediately added. Aren't we here to practice internal vision? Why do we have to take off our clothes? Soo-jae said with a puzzled look on his face. You are stupid, I want to inject blood energy into your body. In this case, I have to be in skin-to-skin contact with you, otherwise would the blood energy in my body be able to be transferred to your body out of thin air? Soo-jae listened to Lin Shiqing's words and thought about the scene. Suddenly he felt that this scene was a bit like a martial arts novel, where one person puts his hands on the back of another person to transfer internal energy. You mean, you put your hands on my back, and then transfer blood energy to me to guide me to learn inner vision? It's not on your back, but on your left chest, where your heart is. Lin Shiqing corrected. Question mark. When Soo-jae listened to Lin Shiqing's words, the corresponding scene immediately appeared in front of his eyes. Such an operation, if the genders were reversed, would really not be broadcast. Without hesitation, Soo-jae took off his t-shirt. No matter what happens, it's not his turn to suffer. Looking at Soo-jae in front of her, although Lin Shiqing looked calm on the surface, there were many waves in her heart. The muscles were smooth and the size was just right. Lin Shiqing couldn't help but feel slightly absent-minded. Technically speaking, this was the first time she had seen a grown man shirtless. But after all, she had lived for 180 years, and her life experience had long been beyond that of a little girl, so her mood calmed down instantly. You lie down on the bed, there seems to be a lot of dust here, let's go to the living room. Lin Shiqing looked at the somewhat dirty bed and frowned slightly. The sofa in the living room is made of leather, which is easier to clean. You can directly use blood to sweep away the dust on it and make it very clean. But the bed sheets in the bedroom are made of cotton and are difficult to clean with blood energy. The two immediately moved their positions and came to the living room. Lin Shiqing activated some blood energy and swept away all the dust. Soo-jae sat on the sofa, and Lin Shiqing sat 20 centimeters beside him. Then I'll start. Lin Shiqing stretched out her hand. For some reason, she was a little nervous. Although Soo-jae is a man, he is a little embarrassed when facing such a scene. He exerted force involuntarily, and his left chest muscle jumped suddenly. Lin Shiqing was shocked when she saw this. What is going on and why is it still moving? Although she has lived to be 180 years old, she knows very little about human anatomy, let alone knowing that a man's chest muscles can be controlled to beat. I accidentally used a little force just now. You start now. I don't know how to use force anymore. Soo-jae explained awkwardly. Lin Shiqing felt surprised and stretched out her hand again. Putting it on Sujay's left breast, she felt a little hard, completely different from her own. What a magical feeling. The next moment, she activated the blood energy in her body and injected it into Sujay's heart. Follow my blood energy and gradually try to have an inward feeling of your body. Close your eyes and focus all your attention on my blood energy. Sujay closed his eyes and began to feel. He soon found the technique. His consciousness slowly sank, finally settling on his lower abdomen. In the darkness, a blood-red light suddenly appeared. That's a blood pill. I saw the blood pill. It has intricate and fine lines on it. As you said, there is indeed a crescent-shaped waning moon on it. In addition to the waning moon, there is also a new moon that is about to take shape. The waning moon and the new moon that is about to take shape indicate that my strength is about to reach the second level, which is around the peak of the first level. Quote. Lin Shiqing was a little surprised. She didn't expect that she could achieve such results so quickly after guiding Sujay to look inside for the first time. Although internal vision is not a difficult task, it is still quite difficult to achieve a certain level. Why didn't the child close the door? But it's okay, I just took this opportunity to ventilate the room and let the stale smell in the room dissipate. Lin Tai muttered to himself and walked into the villa. He walked slowly through the corridor and arrived at the living room. The scene before him turned him to stone on the spot. Zhao King grabbed the blood slave's left breast. What was she doing? Don't dare to look. Don't dare to look. Ahem. The sudden cough made Lin Shiqing come back to her senses instantly. She hurriedly withdrew her right hand and with it the blood energy in Sujay's body. Uncle Tai, why did you come here suddenly? Lin Shiqing knew without thinking that Uncle Tai had definitely seen the scene just now, so she simply stopped explaining it. What's wrong with me? I just said I would get you some blood. Have you forgotten? After saying this, Lin Tai looked at Sujay, feeling a little complicated. The figure is indeed good, and the appearance is also handsome. No wonder Zhao King likes him so much. My niece is good at everything, but she likes to act impulsively. When looking for a blood slave, you need to look not only at the skin, but also at the potential. According to Lin Tai's observation, Sujay's blood energy fluctuations are not strong, and his future achievements will not be much higher. Spending his essence and blood to make him a blood slave is obviously not a good deal. But the deal was already done, and nothing he could say would help. After Sujay saw Lin Tai, he quickly put on his clothes and stood up. Lin Tai's right hand held a glass bottle. Through the bottle, you could see that it contained about 600 to 700 milliliters of dark red blood. On the left hand is a suitcase containing several goblets. Zhao King, this is the top blood I call, come and have a taste. Lin Tai walked to the dining table and poured a glass of blood for Lin Shiqing. Lin Shiqing walked over and sniffed it carefully. The taste can only be said to be okay. Maybe Sujay's blood had already spoiled her taste. Even though it was top-notch blood, it still made her uninterested. Seeing Lin Shiqing unmoved, Lin Tai was a little puzzled. The quality of the blood this time was beyond his imagination. He drank more than a liter yesterday. If his body had not been able to digest it, he probably could have drank more. Lin Shiqing was someone he had known since childhood, and he couldn't hide anything that was on his mind. From the expression on his face, Lin Tai could be sure that Lin Shiqing had no interest in this so-called top blood, and even felt a little disgusted with it. Don't you like the taste? How about I add some sugar? Knowing that Lin Shiqing likes sweet food, Lin Tai thought that this time the blood was not sweet enough, so Lin Shiqing didn't like it. It's not about the sugar, it's just that I don't have much appetite right now. Lin Shiqing waved her hands quickly. That's it, okay then. Lin Tai nodded helplessly, then looked at Sujay. It has already been poured into the cup, and it would be inappropriate to pour it back. I can only take advantage of this blood slave. He picked up the cup and walked to Sujay. Normally, blood slaves are not qualified to enjoy such high-quality blood, but today I can make an exception and let you have a taste of such high-quality blood. I guarantee that you will be hooked on it. Lin Tai handed the goblet filled with blood to Sujay. The smell of blood had even entered Sujay's nasal cavity. Lin Shiqing on the side could see that Sujay was hesitant. That's right, after all, he is not a real vampire, but a vampire who relies on skills. Essentially, he is still human. Therefore, it is inevitable that there will be some resistance to drinking blood. She originally wanted to help Su-jae block it, but when she was about to speak, Su-jae's voice sounded, "Thank you, Uncle Tai." He took the glass of blood directly. The dark red liquid rippled in the cup, crystal clear and without impurities. Real high-grade blood must be absolutely pure and not sticky or thick. Drinking such blood is an absolute pleasure. Of course, for vampires, most humans still find it difficult to accept drinking blood. Without hesitation, Su-jae drank it all in one gulp. He didn't have much need for blood, but since he had become a vampire, he had to follow the Romans and drink some. It tastes a bit like red wine that has been stored for a long time, with a faint smell of blood. Once it enters the mouth, it quickly slides down the throat. There was no discomfort in the whole process, just like drinking water. When the blood reached his stomach, Su-jae found that he began to digest the blood. The blood was gradually transformed and submerged into the blood elixir in his lower abdomen. After drinking a glass of blood, Su-jae found that his blood pill was gradually filling up, and his blood energy was recovering much faster. It seems that I can consider drinking blood to quickly restore my blood energy in the future. Su-jae didn't have much objection to drinking blood. In his eyes, the blood was just some drinks. It seems that I can speed up the recovery of blood energy by drinking blood in the future. Taking the finished cup from Su-jae's hand, Lin Tai put it in his suitcase. At 9 o'clock in the evening, we will call you. You can rest first. After Lin Tai finished speaking, he glanced at Su-jae meaningfully, then walked out, and the hall became calm again. As soon as he walked out of the villa, Lin Tai dialed the number of Lin Shiqing's father, Lin Xiaohua. Xiaohua, there is one thing I have to tell you. Your daughter embraced a man for the first time. What? Lin Xiaohua's voice was a little confused and filled with shock. Are you kidding me? In the clan, Lin Xiaohua has been busy with Yi Hui's affairs for a long time, but there has been no progress. The answer from the Presbyterian Church was that it should be handled in accordance with the original law. This means that we are not planning to let Yi Wei survive. Tired, he sat at the desk and unexpectedly received a call from Lin Tai. Is this something that can be joked about? I originally planned to go to the tribe to tell you, but guess what I just saw? I saw Zhao King put her hand on the man's chest. In addition, the man was still naked from the waist up. I was too embarrassed to look at that scene. Zhao King's first love partner should be the human you mentioned, the human being who Zhao King completed the first inhalation ceremony. Quote. What? Zhao King never mentioned her first embrace to me, so why did she suddenly? Lin Xiaohua's voice trembled slightly. And he did such a despicable act. Oh, it's actually reasonable. Zhao King is so young and easily deceived by sweet words. As a father, you should let her get back on track as soon as possible. She didn't tell anyone about her first embrace. It should have just happened a few days ago. Zhao King's blood energy fluctuations were obviously weak, which must be the sequelae caused by her first embrace. Zhao King has a high probability of falling in love with that human being, but this won't work. When we arrive at the tribe in the early morning, you must have a good talk with Zhao King. Hasn't the tribe already arranged for Lin Zan to be Zhao King's husband? You have to let them get along with each other as soon as possible, cultivate their relationship, and let Zhao King stop thinking about continuing with the blood slave. Combining with a blood slave would undoubtedly be a waste of her bloodline, and the family still needed her to give birth to the 14th generation of bloodline as soon as possible. Many clan members died in this battle. If the family wants to prosper, it must have more powerful clan members. Quote. Lin Tai said a lot, but Lin Xiaohua only heard 10 words. Zhao King fell in love with a blood servant. This must not be the case. Lin Xiaohua frowned. Yi Hui's matter alone had already made him anxious. Why would his daughter cause trouble for him at a time like this? He couldn't bear to see Yi Wei, and he didn't want to let this blood slave who had followed him for more than 100 years be executed like this. But there are many things that he cannot decide casually, and he is also very powerless. Now he heard the news that his daughter fell in love with the blood servant. For a moment, Lin Xiaohua had a lot of thoughts. As a relatively liberal father, he could accept some of Lin Shiqing's willful behaviors to a certain extent. But he would never allow him to develop a relationship with a blood servant casually. The combination of a vampire and a blood servant is an absolutely selfish act. If a vampire wants to continue their bloodline, they need to combine with members of the opposite gender and then have children. Unlike humans, incest marriages in humans can lead to deformities, but children born from blood clan marriages between incestuous relatives are actually more powerful. Marrying and having children of the same race can ensure the maximum purity of the bloodline, and the new bloodline's combat talents will be relatively strong. The blood of a blood servant is inherently impure. If you combine with a blood slave to give birth, the blood purity of the new blood clan born in the future will be greatly reduced, and the talent will be much lower. The tradition passed down from generation to generation cannot be stopped at Lin Shiqing's place. As Lin Tai said, the Lin family also arranged a marriage for Lin Shiqing early in the morning. This is a unified arranged marriage. Brother, I understand. I will definitely have a good talk with Zhao King when I come back. I will definitely not allow her to marry a blood slave. Lin Xiaohua said in a deep voice. Well, resolve it as soon as possible, and don't forget about Lin Zan. His grandfather was an elder in the clan and was highly respected in the entire family. Being able to marry Lin Zan is what many 13 generations of female vampires in the clan have dreamed of. You must seize this opportunity. Lin Tai added. After putting down the phone, Lin Xiaohua looked a little ugly. The next moment he put down the phone, a plump figure walked behind him. Old Lin, what's wrong? The speaker was Lin Wen, Lin Shiqing's mother. She married Lin Xiaohua 300 years ago and gave birth to Lin Shiqing together. Xiaoqing embraced a human for the first time, and developed feelings for that human. Lin Xiaohua pinched the bridge of his nose and whispered. What? Lin Wen felt unbelievable for a moment. Why is Zhao King so confused? This child. Lin Wen's face showed sadness, and her beautiful eyes were lowered. Fortunately, it's not too late now. With some persuasion, it can still be saved. In the early hours of tonight, Lin Tai took her and the blood slave to the clan's territory. Then he called Zhao King aside and asked about the matter. Besides, I want to see which human being poured what kind of ecstasy soup into Zhao King. Lin Xiaohua's eyes were sharp and his voice was filled with anger. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Lin Tai arrived as promised and knocked on the door of the villa. Zhao King, it's time to go. In addition to Lin Tai, there are a total of 7 clansmen on this trip. These clans are not from the same lineage as Lin Shiqing, so they are not familiar with each other. They all have certain positions in Shantai Pharmaceutical and can be regarded as the backbone. Coming, Lin Shiqing and Su Jie were also ready, and they quickly walked out of the villa. In the past few hours, the two of them had taken a good rest. Su Jie's blood had fully recovered, and Lin Shiqing's condition had also improved a lot. In the dark night, a group of 10 people set out from the villa and walked towards the entrance of Silver Moon Mountain. Tonight is the last quarter of the moon, and the bright moonlight shines on the earth, making it quiet. There is a mountain road at the entrance of the mountain. The mountain road winds gradually deeper and disappears into the woods. Su Jie and Lin Shiqing walked at the front of the team, behind Lin Tai. Be careful, there are ferocious beasts nearby. Although they are not particularly powerful, they are still very dangerous under their sudden attack. Lin Tai reminded. The ferocious beasts in Silver Moon Mountain are different from the ferocious beasts in other places. They are extremely ferocious, with physical strength and attack power that are no less than those of the vampires. As for the reason, perhaps it is because this place has been the clan of the Lin clan since ancient times, and the wild beasts were affected by the surging blood of the clan and produced some mutations. In addition, this place has never been developed and maintains its original ecological appearance, providing fertile ground for ferocious beasts to thrive. Lin Shiqing grew up in her clan and had seen so-called ferocious beasts. Grizzly bears, wild wolves, tigers, lions, cheetahs, many ferocious beasts that would have been impossible to gather in one area miraculously appeared near Silver Moon Mountain. For this reason, some biologists even set up a special expedition team to investigate why these animals with hugely different living habits appeared here together, but in the end nothing was found, and several expedition members even died. The specific reason why ferocious beasts appear here together should be traced back to when the Lin clan first chose their clan land. That was thousands of years ago, and the landforms and biological populations here were quite different from today. According to records, at that time, someone in the Lin clan conducted a crazy experiment. Sucking human blood was no longer enough to satisfy them, so some tribesmen turned their attention to beasts. They want to know whether sucking the blood of beasts will have a positive effect on improving strength. The Lin clan began to capture wild beasts from all over the world and brought them back to Silver Moon Mountain. The tribesmen collected their blood and conducted a series of experiments to see whether sucking their blood could improve their strength and blood purity. But the final result was disappointing. The blood of ferocious beasts was simply not as good as human blood, and sucking their blood would also make one's own blood mixed, hindering the improvement of strength. The tribesmen learned from their failures and finally realized that humans are the best of all things. Although the combat effectiveness of Homo sapiens may not be as good as those of large carnivores, they can use and invent tools to kill those powerful animals one by one. Human beings are the pinnacle of biological evolution on this planet. They travel across mountains and rivers, overcome all difficulties, and create a brilliant civilization. This is why the value of human blood is difficult to be surpassed by other animal blood. After the experiment failed, those ferocious beasts were released at will. They set up camp around Silver Moon Mountain. Through continuous evolution, they finally adapted to the local environment and have multiplied to this day. This is the origin of the ferocious beasts near Silver Moon Mountain. It has a long history and often seems to be inadvertent actions, but in the long passage of time, many unexpected results will be born. The Lin clan has the ability to kill the surrounding ferocious beasts, but they will not do so. The ferocious beasts have well prevented humans from getting involved here and disturbing the operation of the clan. And it can also cause certain obstacles to the western vampires who invade here. On the mountain road, Sujay held his breath slightly, his eyes showed a little red light, and he paid attention to his surroundings. Everything in the darkness was revealed to him, and he saw a python running through the woods, chasing a panicked monkey. Seeing this scene, Sujay showed no mercy and even cheered for the python. Perhaps it was the monkeys in Mount Amay that made him have a bad impression of monkeys. If he saw a monkey, he would not only refuse to feed him, but would even kick him a few times. Squeak, squeak. The unlucky monkey was caught up by the python and was immediately entangled. Under the powerful force of the python, subtle bone-cracking sounds were heard, and all the bones on the monkey's body were broken. It soon lost its ability to resist and could only let out a few mournful screams at the last moment of its life. Sujay watched all this silently, and Lin Shiqing on the side also noticed this scene, but she obviously did not have the heart of the Holy Mother. She has seen this kind of situation too many times. The weak prey on the strong. This scene happens every day in the mountains and forests. There is nothing to worry about. Lin Tai was the leader this time. His pace was neither fast nor slow, and his eyes were wandering around, observing all possible unexpected situations. Soon, an unexpected situation suddenly appeared. Roar! A grizzly bear slapped its chest and roared, and his figure appeared in the woods 400 meters away. Ouch! A group of wild wolves howled at the moon and appeared on a small hill 800 meters away. It looks like they are going to fight to the death. Sujay watched this scene with interest. It is not easy for these two animals to meet. Grizzly bears generally live in the Great Plains and coniferous forests of North America, while wild wolves are more common in northern Asia. They are tit for tat here, which is a very interesting and rare beast fighting scene. The battle was imminent, and a group of wild wolves quickly passed through the jungle and came to the grizzly bear. The two parties began to fight. There were about 5 or 6 wild wolves. They had a numerical advantage and they had a tacit understanding. They formed an encirclement and immediately began to attack. The grizzly bear is a lot bulkier, but his strength is amazing. Although it is difficult to hit between swinging his arms, once he hits, it is a fatal blow to the wild wolf. Sujay felt as if he was watching the animal world, and he watched this scene with interest. Lin Tai in front of him turned his head and said behind him, "Everyone, please pay attention and quickly pass through the battle area to avoid stopping." Everyone nodded and sped up. As a vampire, his physical fitness is relatively strong, so his running speed will naturally not be slow. Everyone increased their speed again, running through the mountains and forests at a speed of more than 30 kilometers per hour. Although it is not too fast, the road itself between mountains and forests is not very easy, so this speed is already very fast. After Sujay increased his speed, it felt a bit difficult. On the other hand, others found it much easier. Su Jie realized that his strength was still too weak and he had to find a way to improve his strength as soon as possible. Whoosh! Su Jie suddenly heard an inexplicable slight wind coming from the right front. He cast his gaze towards the place where the sound of wind came from and saw a ghostly black shadow. And the black shadow is still rushing forward at an extremely fast speed. The target is Lin Shiqing. Su Jie subconsciously rushed forward and threw Lin Shiqing to the ground. There was a pain in my back, and the sound of tearing skin and flesh followed. A large piece of flesh and blood was torn off, but Su Jie didn't feel much pain. The pain of vampires is much lighter than that of humans. If a human being had such a large piece of flesh ripped off, he would probably not be able to help screaming in pain. Faced with such an unexpected situation, Lin Tai quickly reacted. In desperation, a strong blood-red light flashed in his hand, and an energy ball was thrown out. Boom! The energy ball exploded at the location of the black shadow, and the loud noise resounded through the forest. Ouch! Roar! The wild wolves and grizzly bears noticed the situation here. They realized that the wave just now was extremely dangerous, and then they stopped fighting and fled in all directions. Lin Tai walked forward with a gloomy face. He never expected that such a thing would happen while he was leading the team. Under normal circumstances, these ferocious beasts would not dare to attack them. Lin's vampire clan had carried out a sweep before, and most of the ferocious beasts had been killed. Once they sensed the breath of the vampire clan, they would immediately run away, let alone attack. Lin Tai walked to the black shadow and turned on the vampire vision to check the situation. It turned out to be a skinny cheetah. A skinny cheetah, on the verge of death, decided to give it a go and attack the vampire who had killed his wife and children. In a hurry, Lin Tai, who should have discovered the clues, gave Cheetah an opportunity to take advantage of it. This was his negligence. Although the vampires are powerful, their defense is average. Without the thick skin and fleshy bodies of wild beasts, they can only rely on their agility to avoid all kinds of harm. Under normal circumstances, at the speed of the vampires, the ferocious beasts would never be able to get close, let alone cause damage. Lin Tai's eyes narrowed slightly. The cheetah hit by the energy ball was completely dead, with blood and residual limbs spurting all over the place. Regarding the attack just now, the cheetah itself did not want to survive. It was like a death squad, trying to use its last strength to give the enemy a hard blow. Originally, there were many cheetahs in Silver Moon Mountain, but due to the purges of the vampire clan, the number was much reduced and the balance among the creatures was broken. The number of the population has decreased, and the cheetahs' hunting operations have encountered obstacles at every turn. Grizzlies, which in the past could be surrounded and suppressed by virtue of their numerical superiority, are no longer opponents. Moreover, the cheetah will be besieged by other ferocious beasts, and the situation will become increasingly difficult. Desperate, the cheetah decides to take revenge. Unfortunately, it is still too weak. Although the attack was unexpected enough, it still failed to kill him. The wound on Su Jie's back ached faintly, and as blood energy continued to surge, the pain of the wound weakened. But I don't know why, the speed of wound healing seems to be much slower. Even the healing of blood energy is somewhat ineffective. If blood energy is forcibly used to heal the wound, it may make the wound heal much faster, but it will definitely consume a lot of blood energy. Su Jie is still a first-level vampire and doesn't have much blood energy. In addition, this wound is extremely weird and the healing effect is not good. Even if all the blood energy is used to heal the wound, it may not have a particularly good effect. After a moment of daze, Lin Shiqing gradually came back to her senses. She looked at Su Jie, who had a somewhat painful look on his face, and quickly approached him. "What's wrong with you?" The next moment, she saw the bloody wound on Su Jie's back. She was shocked and distressed. "Su Jie, why are you so stupid?" In order to protect her, Su Jie threw her to the ground and was seriously injured. Seeing his white hair again, Lin Shiqing felt even more uncomfortable. Su Jie has saved himself twice. In a panic, she quickly activated her blood energy and began to treat Su Jie's injuries. Bloody red light shone in the mountains and forests, and the rest of the tribe looked shocked. They looked at the scene in front of them, somewhat puzzled. It's just a blood slave. Why does Lin Shiqing care so much? So what if the blood slave dies? As long as you can ensure your own safety, that's fine. In their eyes, the blood servant is like an object. And for an object, there should be no emotion at all. Soo-jae looked at the anxious-looking girl under the glow of blood and smiled slightly. It's okay, just some skin injuries. There is no intact skin left on the entire back, and there is still trauma, please stop coming. As Lin Shiqing spoke, she activated her blood energy quickly, hoping to help Soo-jae heal his injuries quickly. Lin Tai came over at this time. That cheetah is not an ordinary cheetah, but a mutated entity. The toxins contained in its claws will corrode the wounds to a certain extent, making healing difficult. Quote. Just as Lin Tai said, when Lin Shiqing tried to heal the wound, she discovered that blood could adhere to the wound, but the healing progress always stalled. The wound is so deep that you can see the bone, and it may be difficult to recover as before. Zhao King, why don't you just leave him here? When you get a human for the first time in the future, blood servants will be everywhere, and spending resources to heal him will outweigh the gain. Quote. Lin Shiqing frowned after hearing Lin Tai's words. Uncle Tai, what are you talking about? It was Soo-jae who saved my life just now, but you asked me to leave him here and let him be eaten by ferocious beasts. Soo-jae's face also turned cold for a moment. He suddenly realized that what he had thought before was still too simple. Going deep into the tiger's den would not be so easy. Although the tribesmen would not attack him blatantly, with the variable existence of ferocious beasts, they could use their swords to kill people. For example, in the current situation, if he is seriously injured and no help is given to him, he can report to hell and reopen directly. Fortunately, Lin Shiqing absolutely protected him and prevented him from falling into a deadlock. Lin Tai looked at Lin Shiqing helplessly. In his eyes, the blood servant was just a pawn and should be discarded decisively when necessary to stop losses in time. The next moment, Lin Shiqing squatted down with her back facing Soo-jae. Climb up, I will carry you back to your clan, and I will ask my father to heal you. Don't worry, I will make sure you are well. Hearing Lin Shiqing's words, Soo-jae felt warm in his heart. Lin Shiqing was his greatest confidence to get involved in this. Soo-jae only injured his back and was not completely incapacitated. He slowly climbed onto Lin Shiqing's back. Lin Shiqing picked up her legs, and a man who was over 1.8 meters tall was firmly carried on the back of a young girl. Why is there an inexplicable thing on my back and it's still a little tingly? A blush flashed across Lin Shiqing's face. She guessed what the thing was and felt relieved. It's just something that every boy has. Now is not the time to be embarrassed. Now her only goal is to bring Soo-jae to the tribe as soon as possible so that her father can treat him. His father is a baron. His blood is thick and condensed, and has more powerful healing ability. He will definitely be able to help Soo-jae recover as before. Looking at Lin Shiqing's stubborn figure, Lin Tai didn't know what to do. Forget it, let Xiaohua handle this matter. This is my brother's family matter, and it is not convenient for me to interfere. After this episode, the group of 10 people set off again. Lin Shiqing was physically strong, so it was quite easy to carry Soo-jae on her back. Her steps were shallow and deep, revealing a hint of impatience. Uncle Tai, can you hurry up? Lin Shiqing urged. Let's return to our clan quickly. Soo-jae's injury cannot be delayed. Lin Tai glanced at Soo-jae with complicated eyes. It seemed that his niece was really passionate about this blood servant. After sighing, he agreed to Lin Shiqing's request. Turning his head, Lin Tai shouted to the remaining tribesmen. Everyone, hurry up and try to arrive at the clan area at 10:30. Speeding up the pace, Lin Shiqing felt slightly relieved amidst the bumps. Soo-jae, on the other hand, was still thinking about how to heal the wound. He tried to guide the blood energy in the blood pill to his back, but the wound healing effect was very average, with little effect. If this continues, the edges of his wounds will also be implicated, and the intact skin will become ulcerated. Soo-jae, don't worry. My father is very strong. He will definitely be able to cure you. Don't worry. Lin Shiqing said firmly. No matter what, I won't let anything happen to you. I know. Soo-jae agreed softly. After more than half an hour's journey, Soo-jae's sight gradually settled on a building in the distance. That's clan land. The architectural style combines the east and the west, with both the eastern courtyard made of rubble bricks and the western castle spire. There is a towering wall on the outside that tightly wraps the entire clan. Under the heavy darkness of night, it was like a mirage, which did not reflect the surrounding environment and did not look like a real thing. Little lights turned on, and the surroundings became much brighter. The clan land is like a city, more like a giant beast, entrenched in the basin between the mountains. We're almost there. Have you seen the lights? That's where the clan is. Lin Shiqing introduced Su Jie. It's spectacular. Su Jie sighed. He has been to the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, and many places of interest, but compared with the Lin clan land in front of him, he felt that something was missing. The architecture here is natural, revealing a sense of craftsmanship and majesty, with a unique sense of heaviness. Perhaps it is because the existing scenic spots and historic sites in the country have not existed as long as the Lin clan land. The gate of the tribe was open, and there were 2 sentry towers next to it. They had already noticed Lin Tai and his party. Lin Tai waved to say hello to the vampire on duty in the sentry tower, and then walked into the clan with a group of people behind him. In the center of the clan is an avenue through which one can go to all corners of the clan. It is like the trunk of a tree, surrounded by veins. Brother Tai, let's go. Brother Tai, goodbye. The other vampires on this trip waved goodbye to Lin Tai, then left and went home. Only Lin Tai and Lin Shiqing, who was carrying Su Jie, were left. The 3 of them went to Lin Shiqing's home together. Lin Shiqing's house is a Western-style castle with 3 floors located in the southwest. Being able to live in the old castle is enough to show that Lin Shiqing's lineage is relatively prominent in the entire Lin family. Lin Xiaohua was waiting for his daughter at the door early in the morning, and the blood servant who had deceived his daughter into being fascinated. Lin Wen stood on his left side, looking worried. Judging from the husband's expression, he must be angry. At home, the couple get along very well, but the main affairs at home are still handled by Su Xiaohua. Lin Wen is mainly responsible for the housework at home, as well as some daily small things. She wanted to persuade her husband not to be so angry, but she hesitated several times. She has been married to her husband for 300 years, and she is very familiar with her husband's temper. If he is really angry, no matter who tries to persuade him, it will be useless. In the distance, 2 figures appeared, and Lin Xiaohua, who was standing at the door, suddenly became energetic. Why is my daughter carrying someone on her back? Looking carefully, he saw that it was a young man with white hair. Could it be that this young man is the blood slave Lin Tai talks about? His daughter is carrying a blood slave. I haven't even asked my daughter to carry her, so why should this blood slave do it? The anger in Lin Xiaohua's heart became even stronger, and his face became very ugly. Lin Tai stepped forward first and pulled Lin Xiaohua aside. Xiaohua, something unexpected happened just now. This is what happened. In his words, he explained all the situations he had just encountered. The anger in Lin Xiaohua's heart slowly melted away. It turns out that this blood servant was seriously injured while protecting his daughter, so her daughter kept carrying him. I originally thought he was a sweet-talking human being, but I didn't expect that in critical moments, he would do anything to protect his daughter. This can't help but make Lin Xiaohua's impression of Su Jie greatly changed. While Lin Tai and Lin Xiaohua were talking, Lin Shiqing put Su Jie down and helped her towards the door. Lin Wen immediately greeted him. Su Jie looked at Lin Wen, thought for a moment, and realized that this should be Lin Shiqing's mother. Looking at her, she looks very young, a beautiful woman, with a graceful figure, like a ripe fruit. It feels like water will come out when you pinch it. Zhao King, are you okay? Lin Wen asked with concern. Of course I'm fine. Su Jie is in trouble. I forgot to introduce you to him. Su Jie is him. I hugged him for the first time. He is my good friend. What a good friend, isn't he a blood servant? Zhao King, why are you so stupid? Didn't I tell you at the beginning that you couldn't just have your first love casually? First love will consume your essence and blood and cause harm to your body. Why don't you listen? Quote. Lin Wen said angrily. Lin Shiqing shook her head. Mom, I have to correct one thing for you. In my heart, Su Jie is my best friend. He is not a blood servant, the relationship between us is equal. In addition, a lot of things happened in Binhai these days, which I will explain to you in detail later. Quote. After saying this, Lin Shiqing firmly supported Su Jie and held his right arm. Seeing this scene, Lin Wen couldn't help but frown. Her daughter had always been obedient, so why could she not distinguish right from wrong when it came to this matter? Soo-jae is seriously injured and must be treated by his father. He was injured because he saved me. Lin Shiqing slowly helped Soo-jae turn around and showed her mother the hideous wound on his back. After seeing the wounds on Soo-jae's body, Lin Wen covered her mouth in surprise. What's going on? How could you be so seriously injured? We encountered a cheetah on the way back to our tribe. The cheetah originally wanted to attack me, but Soo-jae found out in advance. In order to protect me, his back was torn apart by the cheetah, and he became what he is now. Uncle Tai said that this cheetah was mutated, and its claws contained toxins, making the wounds difficult to heal. I tried to stimulate blood to help Soo-jae heal, but with little success. In order for Soo-jae to recover, I'm afraid he would have to use some medicine and his father's Baron-level pure blood energy. Quote. After listening to Lin Shiqing's story, Lin Wen was surprised at Soo-jae's bravery. In her husband's description, Soo-jae was a human being who used sweet words to deceive Lin Shiqing, so she had a preconceived idea and had a very bad impression of Soo-jae. But at this moment, Lin Wen was a little shaken. Being able to risk his own life to save his daughter is definitely a trustworthy person. He's not the kind of sweetheart who only talks sweet words and has no appearance. By the way, Mom, why don't you try the blood-stimulating power and see if it can help Soo-jae heal his injuries? Lin Shiqing said suddenly. Lin Wen is the last generation of the 9th-level vampire. Although she is not weak in strength, she is still much weaker than her husband who is already a baron. The gap between the great realms is like a chasm, and there is a huge gap in the quality and quantity of blood energy. However, compared with Lin Shiqing, Lin Wen is obviously much stronger. Her blood energy may be able to help Soo-jae heal his wounds. Okay, I'll give it a try. Lin Wen is an emotional person. Soo-jae was injured because of protecting his daughter. No matter what he did in the past, she was very grateful to Soo-jae and was willing to try to help him heal. In addition, since the deal is done and his daughter has embraced him for the first time, it is not a bad idea to keep him. But the premise is that he must be a good person and cannot have any other bad intentions. With her thoughts surging, Lin Wen calmed down and walked behind Soo-jae. Most of the back was skinless, with wounds crisscrossing it, and bones could be seen in the deepest part. Stretching out her right hand, a trace of blood appeared on her palm. This fluctuation was hundreds of times stronger than Lin Shiqing's. This gave Lin Shiqing confidence that maybe her mother could heal Soo-jae's wounds and restore his back to its original state. When Lin Wen's blood energy covered Soo-jae's back, a miracle occurred. The originally rotten and rolled flesh and blood was reborn at this moment, and strands of new flesh and blood grew out. Very good. Lin Shiqing looked happy. Soo-jae felt a numbness in his back, as if a professional massage technician was massaging him. There was also some numbness and itching, and he could feel some flesh and blood growing out. Stop, Xiao Wen, what are you doing? Lin Xiaohua's voice suddenly sounded. Lin Wen was stunned and subconsciously stopped what she was doing. Wait a minute, there is no need to be so anxious about healing before asking things clearly. Quote. Lin Xiaohua's voice was undeniable. Just now, Lin Xiaohua learned a lot of information from Lin Tai's mouth. In addition to the situation just encountered on the mountain road, there is also what happened in Silver Moon Town. Lin Xiaohua has rich experience, has lived in the clan area for many years, and has much wider knowledge. Naturally, it was impossible to trust Soo-jae so quickly. Lin Tai was about to leave. He had told Lin Xiaohua all the information he knew. As for how to deal with it, let Lin Xiaohua decide for himself. As Lin Tai gradually moved away, Lin Xiaohua coughed. Come in first, let others see the joke outside the door. Although they belong to the same clan, the entire clan is like a small society, and there is also competition between different lineages. As for blood being thicker than water, after thousands of years, if they are not members of the same clan, they can only be said to be strangers with blood ties to the collateral clans. This is like a distant relative. The Lin family has a large population and many bloodlines, and the situation is even more complicated. Discussing family matters on the street will definitely become a topic of conversation in other contexts. People are eager to see your jokes. The more miserable you are, the better. Lin Shiqing never left Soo-jae. She stayed with Soo-jae from beginning to end, supporting him and taking good care of him. Entering the door, Soo-jae saw that the vestibule was very large. The carpet is dark red and covered with mysterious and strange patterns. As you go deeper, you can see a hall. There was no one in the hall, and the flames of the candle lamps were beating. Due to the limited brightness, the whole hall was somewhat dark. Lin Xiaohua originally wanted to press Soo-jae against the wall and force him to reveal how he deceived his daughter. But he thought for a moment and thought that Soo-jae had saved his daughter just now after all. Although her daughter was deceived, Soo-jae also had a lot of credit to make up for it. Lin Xiaohua finally decided to let him go first, but the necessary interrogation process would definitely be indispensable. Soo-jae's preliminary analysis of Lin Xiaohua is a very rational man. He cares about his daughter, and his attitude towards himself has not reached an irreversible point. Soo-jae was still a little worried after all. Without knowing it, his daughter was abducted. Lin Xiaohua didn't know how he would treat himself. Soo-jae, right, I'm going to ask you something, and you must answer it honestly. If you want to lie to me, I will throw you outside and let those ferocious beasts eat you until there is no bone left. I will do what I say. Quote. Lin Xiaohua said in a cold voice with a sharp look on his face. Is this a show of force? Zhao King, please stay away. I want to say something to him. Lin Xiaohua looked at his daughter. Dad, Soo-jae is still injured. Can you heal him first and talk about other things later? Lin Xiqing frowned and said dissatisfied. No, there are some things that I must ask first. Lin Xiaohua shook his head. But don't worry, since he saved you, I won't do anything to him, as long as he answers honestly. Lin Xiqing wanted to say something else, but was stopped by her mother. Zhao King, let your dad ask him first. You are still so young and have little experience. You don't know how to distinguish between good and bad people. Your dad and I are also worried that you will be cheated. After hearing this, Lin Xiqing quickly retorted. I was not deceived. Soo-jae is a good person. He saved me more than once. Soo-jae spoke. Xiqing, let me say a few words to uncle. It'll be okay. Lin Xiaohua's eyes narrowed slightly. You actually dare to call her Xiqing, you are really not afraid of death. It was the first time in hundreds of years that they abducted my daughter in front of me. Boy, I appreciate your courage more and more. Seeing Soo-jae say this, Lin Xiqing nodded helplessly. Okay, Soo-jae, if my dad wants to hurt you, just call me immediately and I will protect you. Soo-jae smiled slightly when he heard this and nodded. It's good that Lin Xiqing has this intention, but if Lin Xiaohua really wants to kill him, it won't be his turn to speak out, and he will already be game over. Lin Wen and Lin Xiqing walked to the guest room aside, and only Soo-jae and Lin Xiaohua were left in the huge living room. Quote. Are you really not afraid that I will kill you? Lin Xiaohua gradually approached. Uncle, if you really wanted to kill me, you would have done it already, wouldn't you? Soo-jae's voice was neither humble nor arrogant, and there was a calmness in his words. This can't help but make Lin Xiaohua a little curious. This human being is really brave. He was ready to watch Soo-jae kneel down in front of him and beg him. But the reality is quite the opposite. I have to admit, you are very brave. Lin Xiaohua circled around Soo-jae. Sometimes, foolish bravery will only make death come sooner. Uncle, actually I am not very courageous, but at this moment, even if I beg you to spare my life, it will have no effect. Soo-jae endured the pain and tried to straighten his body. Lin Xiaohua sneered. As expected of a human being who can deceive my daughter into being fascinated. His psychological quality is indeed very strong. I didn't lie to her. We are friends. I am willing to be embraced by her, and I will spare no effort to ensure her safety. Soo-jae said calmly. Lin Xiaohua stared at Soo-jae's eyes. Those black pupils were calm and showed no emotion. He felt strange and surprised at the same time. This young man was beyond his expectation. He had to change his strategy. How did you meet? What happened next? Tell me all. Quote, I am a student at Binhai University. Xiqing and I added WeChat more than half a month ago. We kept chatting on WeChat, and then she invited me to her house as a guest, but she actually wanted to suck my blood. I woke up in the middle of the night and accidentally discovered that she was a vampire. She originally planned to kill me, but in the end she spared my life, but I had to stay with her. During the time we spent with her, we developed a deep friendship, and eventually she embraced me for the first time. The day before yesterday, we met 2 Western vampires, and those 2 Western vampires attacked the villa. But fortunately, the defense mechanism of the villa worked and killed the 2 Western vampires. We deepened our friendship in the crisis, and finally she decided to take me back to the tribe. Looking back, we gradually got to know each other and got along well with each other. I am willing to protect my daughter in the future. Although my current strength is not strong, I will still try my best, and I will work hard to improve my strength in the future to help her more. Quote. Su Jie's words made Lin Xiaohua's eyes change several times. Besides, Xiqing has been living alone, spending less time with you and your aunt than staying away from her. She is lonely and wants someone to be by her side, and I am willing to be that person. Quote. After Su Jie finished speaking, he closed his eyes. Uncle, if you want to kill me, just go ahead and I won't resist at all. Lin Xiaohua was silent for a moment and asked in a low voice. Do you really think I don't dare to take action? No, I have no regrets if you do it. You just gave up resistance. Su Jie shook his head. My strength is so weak, there is no need to resist in front of you. Lin Xiaohua stood beside Su Jie, with his back to him. With so many thoughts in his mind, he found that he seemed to have no reason to kill Su Jie. Su Jie's words were very sincere, and he could not feel any deception. If these are all lies, Su Jie is undoubtedly the greatest actor in history. What he didn't know was that Su Jie's rhetoric had been rehearsed thousands of times in his mind. Although the story about being embraced by Lin Xiqing for the first time is false, the rest is true. The difference between true and false also makes the small number of lies more credible and more convincing. Lin Xiaohua looked at Su Jie and examined him. Su Jie never did anything harmful to Zhao King. In addition, he also accompanied Zhao King and gave her a lot of warmth. As Su Jie said, he spent too little time with Zhao King. To be honest, Lin Xiaohua felt very guilty. But there was nothing he could do about it. Things within the clan were complicated and he had very little free time. Letting Lin Xiqing live in Binhai is because he hopes that his daughter can find more happiness in the human world and not stay in the clan's land to sit in a well and watch the sky. As for the Western vampires' attack on the villa, this was the first time he heard about it. It seemed that his absence for such a long time almost cost his daughter her life. What happened on the mountain road just now also moved Lin Xiaohua. After looking at Su Jie in silence for a while, Lin Xiaohua nodded. Okay, I decided to save your life first. But you have to promise me one thing. Quote. Su Jie's eyes opened, and his heart that had just been relieved rose again. But you can't have feelings with Zhao King that go beyond friendship. Once I find out that you have deviant feelings, you will have to bear the consequences. Lin Xiaohua said in a deep voice. Zhao King has already been engaged to another 13th generation blood clan in the clan. It is impossible for her to marry a blood servant. You should give up your heart as soon as possible. From now on, your task is to protect Zhao King's safety. Don't think about anything else. This is my bottom line. Quote. Lin Xiaohua felt very conflicted. He could not accept the relationship between Su Jie and Lin Xiqing calmly. In the family's hundreds of years, there had never been a blood master and a blood servant falling in love, and he regarded such a situation as a shame. But on the other hand, he hopes that his daughter can pursue her own happiness instead of being forced to marry someone she doesn't like. Although that person may have huge power and strength, such external conditions obviously cannot make his daughter happy. When he was young, from the first moment he saw Lin Wen, he had already entrusted his whole heart to her. For decades, he always talked to her intentionally or unintentionally, invited her to dances, and went out together to complete tasks assigned by the family. As they got along day after day, Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen gradually developed a different kind of affection, and the two agreed to be together forever. Originally, the family arranged for Lin Xiaohua to have another female tribe member as his fiancée. When he learned the news, he decided to fight. After a long period of hard work, he finally got his wish and married Lin Wen. But his situation was different from Su Jie's. He and Lin Wen were both 12th generation vampires, so they were a perfect match. As for Su-jae and Lin Shiqing, one is a blood master and the other is a blood servant. The combination of master and servant will only lead to countless ridicules. Lin Xiaohua understands what kind of happiness it is to be with the person you love. He also understands that an arranged marriage is always a golden one, and the desolate feeling of not being able to love can only be tasted alone. His eyes flickered and he sighed silently in his heart. Forget it, he decided to follow his heart. He hoped that his daughter could pursue her own happiness, and let her decide everything by herself. Although Su-jae is a blood slave, he does treat his daughter sincerely. This is undeniable. As for Lin Zan, if his daughter really doesn't want to be with him, Lin Xiaohua will support her. As for why Lin Xiaohua's attitude was so bad just now, it also had a hint of intimidation. Su-jae almost abducted his daughter without his knowledge. If Lin Xiaohua didn't give him a blow, he wouldn't know what Su-jae was thinking. Only under severe intimidation can we get Su-jae's truest answer. And just a few months after returning to the clan, her daughter was stolen, and no one would be able to live with her. Looking at Su-jae, the wounds on his back were curled up and festering, looking very painful. But Su-jae's eyes were as firm as ever. Lin Xiaohua couldn't help but nodded secretly. This perseverance is indeed worthy of admiration. It's a pity that he is a blood servant after all. Lin Xiaohua sighed softly, and there was a sudden knock on the door. He couldn't help being stunned, then quickly walked to the entrance hall and opened the door. Brother Hua, things have turned around for Yi Wei. Just now, the Presbyterian Council has relented and said that they can make an exception, but they need you to agree to some conditions. I don't know the specifics. The clan elders want to meet you, so please come with me. Quote. The visitor was a vampire who looked like a middle-aged man, with a medium build and a look of joy on his face. Really? Lin Xiaohua was overjoyed and said in disbelief. Okay, just wait for me. I'll take care of the housework. I'll be fine soon. After he finished speaking, he walked quickly to the living room. At this time, Su-jae was still standing upright, piercing straight into the ground like a sharp sword. If you observe carefully, you can see that he is shaking a little and his body is shaking slightly. There were bursts of knife-like pain from the wound on his back. But the new flesh and blood that had just been healed by Lin Wen was torn apart again, and the bloody back became even more miserable. Even so, Su-jae never thought of bending down to show submission. Lin Xiaohua patted Su-jae on the shoulder and reminded in a low voice, "Remember what I told you." After finishing speaking, he quickly walked to the guest room. "Xiaowen, please treat Su-jae's wound. I have to go to the Presbyterian church immediately. It will be late when I get back. Remember to arrange Su-jae's residence later." Lin Xiaohua's voice was full of magnetism, deep and majestic, and had the aura of a superior. Lin Wen and Lin Shiqing quickly walked out of the guest room after hearing the noise outside. "I understand, hurry up and don't delay things," Lin Wen repeatedly warned. "Although I don't know what it will be, judging from my husband's appearance, it should be a relatively urgent matter." Lin Xiaohua left quickly. The next moment he walked out of the house, Su-jae could no longer hold on and almost fell over. The wounds on his back were even more horrifying, blood smeared all the way down his back, and the upper part of his trousers was soaked. Su-jae gritted his teeth and tried his best to steady himself. Seeing this scene, Lin Shiqing's heart almost broke. She quickly walked to Su-jae and helped him to the sofa. "You just lie down on the sofa. It's all my dad's fault. He insists on telling you something, and the wound has worsened a lot." Lin Shiqing felt heartbroken with a little regret. "If I had known, I would have been tougher just now and not let my dad talk to you." "It's okay." Su-jae shook his head with a smile, "The wound doesn't hurt much." "It doesn't hurt, I don't believe it. Look, what is your wound like? How much pain do you have?" Quote. Lin Shiqing, who used to be cold and aloof, became like a chatterbox. Su-jae felt warm in his heart and the pain of the wound became much lighter. "Mom, hurry up and help Su-jae heal his wounds. Look at what he's become." Lin Shiqing looked at Lin Wen and urged. "I know, don't worry." Lin Wen spoke and walked towards Su-jae's position. Su-jae suddenly smelled a body fragrance that was completely different from Lin Shiqing's. It was like red wine that had been stored for a long time. The fragrance was intoxicating. Is this the smell of a mature vampire? The next moment, Su Jie realized that Lin Wen must be 400 or 500 years old this year. After 400 to 500 years of precipitation, it's outrageous. In comparison, mature women in their 30s and 40s are really weak in reality. However, Su Jie had no interest in being a sow thief. In his opinion, it was really against human ethics. The relationship between husband and wife is good, so why does it matter if he interferes? Being a sow thief is not a casual act. Perhaps it is only acceptable to be a sow thief under necessary circumstances, such as when the original wife is not emotionally compatible. Not to mention that this is his own mother-in-law. If you still think about it, that would be too beastly. Lin Wen moved a chair and sat aside, and began to treat Su Jie's injuries. Su Jie lay on the sofa with his back facing up and closed his eyes. Next, it depends on Lin Wen's operation. Lin Wen immediately raised her right hand, and streams of pure blood gathered in her palm. It was a soft blood-red beam of light that shimmered and covered Su Jie's wound. This is the pro version where Lin Shiqing sucks Su Jie's blood and then performs a healing technique on his neck. As time passed, the wounds healed quickly, the flesh and blood continued to reorganize, and became full of life again. Seeing that Su Jie's injury was getting better, Lin Shiqing finally felt relieved. While Lin Wen was pouring blood energy to heal the wounds, she stared at Su Jie's profile with slightly squinted eyes. Just now in the room, she learned many of Su Jie's past events from Lin Shiqing's mouth. He plays the piano very well and is upright and brave. He will always step forward at critical moments and spare no effort to protect his daughter's safety. Su Jie brought a lot of warmth to his daughter, and the two established a deep relationship through the in-depth and simple explanations. Lin Wen gradually let down her guard against this young man. Perhaps she and her husband were overly sensitive. Su Jie was a good person. He did not deceive his daughter or use any sweet words. And the reason why he protects Zhao King and stays with her for a long time, there is only one answer. That's because he likes Lin Shiqing. Lin Wen felt that she had seen through everything. In the dark dungeon, it was cold and damp, and there was a musty smell in the air. A rickety figure nestled in a corner with a sad expression. Yi Wei looked ahead blankly, waiting for his ending. He still remembered that night 5 days ago, when dozens of Western vampires attacked and the sky was dyed red with blood. During the battle, the blood energy fluctuated and spread, energy balls flew in all directions, and countless large pits appeared on the ground. He stood up as a member of the defense team and led 4 or 5 blood slaves to attack and kill a Western vampire and injured 3 Western vampires. But just when the battle was about to end, an accident happened. A Western vampire burned all his remaining blood essence and gave a fatal blow to the Eastern vampire closest to him. And that unlucky Eastern vampire was Lin Meng. She was pierced through the heart by an extremely thick energy beam and died on the spot. Everything happened so fast, no one reacted. At the moment when Lin Meng died, Yi Wei suddenly discovered that his spirit, which had been suppressed for 200 to 300 years, was instantly liberated. He was free. After the death of the Blood Master, the Blood Slave will regain his freedom. But when Yi Wei found out that he had regained his freedom, he was not excited at all, but his face turned pale. He has been in the Lin clan for hundreds of years, so how could he not know that once the Blood Master dies, all the blood slaves controlled by him will be executed? And as Lin Meng's only blood slave, he would definitely not escape death. After that, he was predictably sent to the dungeon to wait for the final trial. During the 4 days in the dungeon, he often thought of Lin Meng. The sister Zhaolin who had a tender relationship with him, but only to deceive him. Her voice and smile were spinning in front of his eyes. Yi Wei suddenly realized that when he saw her being penetrated by the beam, he did not feel the pleasure of revenge as he had imagined. Instead, he was stunned, feeling very numb, and felt that everything in front of him was like a fantasy. He felt that he was suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Lin Meng had caused him so much misery, but when she died, he didn't feel the slightest sense of joy. Instead, he felt a little nostalgic. He felt a little uncomfortable knowing that he would never see her again. But shouldn't I be excited? Just like in a hero movie, the bad guys get the punishment they deserve, justice is done, everything becomes beautiful, and people start to cheer for the heroes. Shaking his head, Yi Wei was confused for a while. Well, it seems that I don't hate Lin Meng that much. It has been too long, and I have long been willing to be driven by her, and I have become a slave from the bottom of my heart. That was the fact. Yi Wei smiled self-deprecatingly and calmly prepared to wait for death. Death, I thought it was a very far-away word. When death approached, he felt somewhat relieved. He remembered the night when he was 18 years old. The candlelight was flickering. He held Lin Meng and promised each other. Lin Meng's body was cold in his arms, and he wanted to warm it up with a fiery heart. Lin Meng had a pair of crescent moon eyes and a very cute smile. Yi Wei couldn't help but smile when he thought about it. Even though she lied to him and turned him into a blood slave, Yi Wei still wanted to say that he just liked Lin Meng. So silly. It's really stupid, but sometimes, feelings seem to be like this. Foolishly giving everything, knowing that you can't get anything back, but you just want to do it. Forget it, it's all over anyway. The rotten smell rushed into his nose, and Yi Wei didn't want to think about anything anymore. He was tired. As he closed his eyes, his thoughts quickly became scattered and endless darkness swallowed him up. The tower where the Presbyterian church is located in the center of the clan. It is a Gothic tower over 40 meters tall with up to 13 floors. Some Oriental elements are integrated into the tower, and many ancient Oriental symbols are engraved on it. There is a mysterious color in the obscurity. The body of the tower is made of purple boulders, and the top of the tower is sharp and towering. It is the highest point in the entire clan. On the third floor, in the conference hall, a group of elders from the Lin clan gathered here. Their faces showed no obvious signs of aging, with deep and shallow wrinkles, making them more majestic. Most of these clan elders are 10th generation vampires, and the strongest among them is the 9th level Baron. Although these clan elders are highly respected within the clan, they are not the strongest of the Lin clan. The truly powerful beings are all old monsters, mostly 9th and 8th generation clansmen. The 8th and 9th generation vampires have survived for nearly 3,000 years and have almost reached the end of their lives. Although the lifespan of the vampires is very long, it still has a limit. It is bound by the laws of heaven and earth. As time goes by, one day they will be reduced to nothing. In order to continue to live, as viscounts, they must break through to the count so that they can have longer lives. In order to race against time to break through the realm, they secluded themselves inside the clan and could not leave for a long time, and the decision-making of daily affairs was left to the less senior 10th generation vampire, the clan elder in the conference hall. Beside the long table in the conference hall were 9 clan elders. Opposite them, Lin Xiaohua looked solemn. Lin Xiaohua, after our discussion, we finally decided to make an exception. As for why, Yi Wei contributed a lot in the previous battle to defend the clan, and you also helped kill 2 Western vampires. Everyone in the clan hates you. He expressed his admiration for Yi Hui's glorious behavior. Because of this, we decided to set a precedent so that Yi Wei can survive, but Clan Elder Lin Mocheng, who was sitting in the center, suddenly stopped in his voice. Lin Xiaohua knew in his heart that the following content was the key. He didn't know what conditions the clan leader wanted him to agree to this time, but as long as it wasn't too much, he could accept it. Yi Wei has been the housekeeper of his family for more than 200 years. During these long years, he has long established a deep affection for Yi Wei, and they are more like family members. Lin Xiaohua is willing to pay a lot of money if he can be saved. Yi Wei has been handling the affairs of the Lin group before, right? Lin Mocheng suddenly changed the subject. Yes, he has been the president of the group for more than 20 years. As Lin Xiaohua answered, various scenes of the past 20 years appeared in his mind. 20 years ago, the family asked Yi Wei to manage the Lin group in Binhai, and the Lin group's income took off on a fast train, rising year after year. 10 years ago, Lin Xiaohua saw that Lin Shiqing was too isolated in her clan in Silver Moon Town, sitting in a well and looking at the sky, so he sent her to Binhai and let her live there temporarily. Later, she was arranged to go to college, but after all, she was a vampire, so she was naturally separated from humans. Lin Shiqing still didn't have many friends. Because there were too many things in the clan, Lin Xiaohua didn't have much time to spend with Lin Shiqing, so his time was wasted. Time flies so fast, everything seems like yesterday. With a little emotion in his heart, he looked at Lin Mocheng again. What we mean is that he will be responsible for managing the Lin group in Binhai from now on, but he will never be able to return to the clan. If possible, the clan will let him live. And he must drink the Thrall potion. Quote, Lin Xiaohua's eyes condensed. He naturally knew what Thrall's potion was. It was a highly poisonous potion. Once drunk, the antidote must be taken every 3 months, otherwise he will die. This medicine is often used by the Lin clan to control some high-ranking humans, such as wealthy businessmen or officials. When the Lin clan conducts some black transactions, Thrall's potion always has a surprising effect. With this potion, the family can easily control a large number of humans for its use. If there is no antidote, it means death. In order to survive, humans who drink the potion will have to sacrifice their lives for the Lin clan. Unexpectedly, this trick was actually used on Yi Wei according to local conditions. Yi Wei is very talented in business, which is recognized by the clan elders. In the human world, money is a very useful passport. They need Yi Wei to continue to work hard for them and gain more wealth. In other words, it was not because they were soft-hearted that they made an exception, but because Yi Wei still had value. As for why Yi Wei is not allowed to return to the clan, it is still because he is afraid that he will kill everyone and pose a threat to the security of the clan. As long as he is far away from the coast, there is no need to worry about safety issues. Your calculations are really ringing. Lin Xiaohua's eyes changed several times, and his anger was about to burst out. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xiaohua felt extremely weak again. He understood that this was the last concession of the Presbyterian Council. If he did not agree, then Yi Wei would definitely be executed. There was no other possibility. Lin Xiaohua, think about it carefully. If you can accept it, then do as we say. Once Yi Wei drinks the Sao magic potion, you will take him to Binhai immediately. In addition, you must remember to remind him not to think of any tricks. If the Lin group's income decreases, once it is found that he did it deliberately, then the subsequent antidote, he will only have death. Quote. Lin Mocheng's voice without any emotion sounded, echoing and dissipating in the conference hall. When Lin Xiaohua left the conference hall, it was 2 o'clock in the morning and he felt lightheaded. In his right hand, there is a bottle of potion filled with green color. It is Thrall's potion. You still want me to be the executioner, haha. He agreed to the request of the clan elders and saved Yi Hui's life. This was a helpless move and he had no other choice. Lin Xiaohua is going to the dungeon now, handing the Sao magic potion to Yi Wei personally and asking him to drink it. In the endless years to come, as long as Yi Wei is alive, the family will absorb the value he created like leeches. Lin Xiaohua does not have blood slaves. He does not feel that blood slaves are an object that can be discarded casually. He believes that blood slaves are more like partners rather than a simple master-slave relationship. There are very few people in the entire Lin family who think like him. Lin Xiaohua thinks it may be related to the fact that he inadvertently read some books about Marxism-Leninism, and the seeds of equality were planted in his heart. The master-slave relationship is the dregs of the times. Shaking his head secretly, Lin Xiaohua felt like he had become a fool and wanted to build a memorial arch. As a vampire, there is no equality with humans in the first place. The blood he drinks every day is extracted from humans, and the wealth and interests he seizes are also stained with blood and cannot be seen in the light. This is indeed the case. There is no fairness in the world. Those who protest against the use of power to suppress others are often the victims. If one day they have a higher status and they can use their power to suppress others, then they will immediately stop protesting and start to consciously safeguard their status. People, filthiness is written in their bones, and they are all selfish in nature. Lin Xiaohua is also very selfish. He admits that Yi Wei has worked hard in his family and taken care of his daughter for so many years, so he wants to protect Yi Wei and let him survive. The family has killed more than 10 blood slaves over the years, but not once did Lin Xiaohua interfere. The key was to keep the matter out of his sight. He is not a saint. He can only support some justice that he thinks is reasonable within the scope of his ability. It's a pity, Xiao Yi, this is all I can do. Lin Xiaohua's father died in the war more than 100 years ago, and his grandfather is still alive and is a member of the elders of the Presbyterian Church. Perhaps this is why the Presbyterian Church finally made a special exception. The most powerful person in his lineage is his great-grandfather, the 9th generation of the blood clan, who has reached the level of Viscount. However, his great-grandfather has a lifespan of more than 2,900 years and is about to die. If we can break through to Count, our lifespan can be extended by another 1,000 years, but that is obviously impossible. Great-grandfather's strength has only reached the 6th level of Viscount. He wants to break through 3 small realms in the last 100 years of his life, one at a great level. Reaching the Count is no less than an idiot's dream. After my great-grandfather died, a big tree collapsed. If he was under the tree, his situation would be much worse. With so many thoughts on his mind, Lin Xiaohua felt that he had a heavy burden on him. It was not an easy task to survive in such a large family with entangled interests. The dungeon is in the southeast corner of the tribe's land. There is always a rotten smell near the dungeon. The tribesmen are quite disgusted with this place and basically will not come. This is the second time Lin Xiaohua has come here. In the past 400 years, the only time he came here was when he was transferred here to serve as a guard to prevent the prisoners in the dungeon from escaping and causing trouble. When the unpleasant smell hit his face, Lin Xiaohua knew that he was not far from the dungeon, and his steps slowed down. He was thinking about how to tell Yi Wei about this. Hey, maybe he won't be able to think about it anymore and commit suicide directly. At this point in life, I have been squeezed all the time, and life seems to be meaningless. Lin Xiaohua suddenly thought of something. Yi Wei seems to have never been in love before, so why not introduce him to some female blood slaves, or humans? With a partner, there is hope in life, and you will want to continue living. Although Thrall's magic potion will also imprison Yi Wei to a certain extent, compared to the Blood Master's full-time suppression of the blood slaves, it is already much easier. All you need to do is run the Lin group well according to the family's wishes. Just drink the antidote once every 3 months. Thinking of this, Lin Xiaohua's face looked a little better. With the guard's permission, he walked into the dark corridor, descended a little down the steps, and arrived at the dungeon. The cell where Yi Wei was located was in the corner. It was said to be a cell, but it was actually just a dilapidated hut with some tattered straw mats and a steel fence. Lin Xiaohua quickened his pace after seeing the figure leaning against the wall with a dejected look on his face. Chapter 51. In the hall of Lin Shiqing's house, Su Jie closed his eyes slightly. At this time, most of the wounds on his back had healed, leaving only a few small scars. Lin Wen frowned behind him because Su Jie's injuries were too severe, which put a heavy load on her and consumed nearly half of the blood energy in her body. Lin Shiqing looked happy. Seeing that Su Jie was healthy again, a big stone in her heart was immediately relieved. Call. 3 minutes later, Lin Wen breathed a long sigh of relief. The blood flowing on her hands gradually dissipated, and the healing was finally over. Su Jie felt warm and indescribably comfortable behind him, just like the feeling he had when he went to a massage parlor with his classmates in his freshman year, and the technician used essential oil to give him a good massage. Of course, what he does are all serious massages, and there are no other projects. Lin Wen trembled slightly and sat on the sofa nearby. There is a lot of resistance to the healing this time. I really don't know how the ferocious beasts nearby have evolved, and the toxins have become so powerful. According to common sense, even if you are injured, it doesn't take much blood energy to heal the wound. The better. Lin Wen felt a little strange in her heart. After thinking to no avail, Lin Wen stopped thinking about it and looked at Su Jie. You have just recovered, and you should still need some time to recuperate. You can go and rest. The room on the right-hand side of the second floor is the guest room. You can just rest there. Quote. Su Jie also sat up from the sofa, and he was able to take a good look at Lin Wen. Her cheeks are a little flushed, her eyes are sparkling and clear, her hair is flowing down smoothly, and her nose is small and straight. No wonder Lin Shiqing's appearance is not bad. With such a mother, it is strange that her appearance is not good. Lin Wen stroked her slightly hot cheek and felt her body was a little hot. Perhaps it was because she had consumed too much blood energy just now, which made her feel a little uncomfortable. A feeling of emptiness came over me in my lower abdomen. This time the consumption is so large, it seems that the blood energy needs to be replenished. Okay auntie, I'm going to take a rest now. Su Jie stood up and said respectfully. Lin Shiqing on the side held Su Jie's hand. I'll take you there. My house is very big. If you go alone, you might get lost. After speaking, she pulled Su-jae towards the stairs. Before leaving, Su-jae nodded to Lin Wen and smiled. The latter also smiled slightly, and this smile made Su-jae feel a little dazed. Gentle as water. What a perfect lady in every aspect. Lin Shiqing grew up in such a family condition and was quite happy. The only drawback was that she had little time to spend with her parents. Although Lin Wen usually doesn't have many affairs, she still needs to bear some responsibilities in the family and going out as normal. Watching the two people leaving, the smile on Lin Wen's face gradually disappeared, and a trace of sadness gradually appeared on her face. If you fall in love with a blood slave, Zhao King, you will suffer hardship in the future. Su-jae, led by Lin Shiqing, went to the second floor. The corridor on the second floor is very long. Looking from the middle to both sides, there are dim lights flickering. There are rich and obscure symbols and carved patterns on the walls of the corridor. Su-jae and Lin Shiqing walked on the wooden floor, and a slight creak sounded with their steps. This is the guest room, but it seems a little dirty. Let me change you a set of sheets and bedding. After Lin Shiqing finished speaking, she turned around and went to get the bedding from the storage room nearby. The guest rooms have not been occupied for a long time, and many areas are covered with a layer of dust after being vacant for a long time. Seeing this scene, Su-jae wanted to use blood energy to clean up the dust like Lin Tai had used before, but failed again. The blood that just gathered on the hand can dissipate in an instant, and the red light gradually dissipates. He found that his control over blood energy was still lacking, and he would have to try more in the future. Lin Shiqing fetched a clean bedding from next door. She happened to see Su-jae fail and quickly comforted her, "It's okay. I'll be able to do it next time. It's not difficult to control blood energy. It's very simple." Su-jae looked at Lin Shiqing resentfully. "You said this is very simple, why do I feel even more useless?" The right corner of Lin Shiqing's mouth turned up slightly. "What can you do if you don't know how to control blood?" "It's okay. It doesn't matter if you can't learn it in your life. I can do it. I can just protect you then. Although you saved me again this time, it was because I didn't react. As long as you let me react, I will definitely be able to protect you very well." Quote. Lin Shiqing's eyes were innocent, and Su-jae felt like he was purified in an instant. Lin Shiqing put the quilt on the bed and then waved her arms. Lines of blood energy quickly grew in her palms, and the blood energy gathered into a network and swept away all the dust. After gathering almost all the dust together, a blood-red ball as big as a ball of paper flew out of the window at a very fast speed, and the whole room suddenly took on a new look. "Okay, you can rest now." Lin Shiqing clapped her hands and said with satisfaction. To be honest, Su-jae didn't feel that tired. Even if he rested now, he wouldn't be able to sleep at all. After becoming a vampire, he found that his daily routine was also greatly affected. When he was a human, he was always energetic during the day. At 11 or 12 o'clock at night, he would feel sleepy. As soon as he lay down on the bed, he would fall asleep quickly. But when he was a vampire, he would not feel particularly sleepy no matter day or night. Even during the day, his sleepiness would be much stronger. In the dead of night, he was particularly energetic. Even when he lay on the bed, he would not feel sleepy at all. "I couldn't sleep very well." Su-jae shook his head. "After your mother finished healing me, I became more energetic. The wound is now warm and comfortable, as if I had never been injured in the first place." "I see, I thought you wanted to have a good rest." Lin Shiqing nodded. "Then what do you want to do now?" "What?" Su-jae was stunned, but this question stopped him. "What to do? By the way, he has to drink blood. 4/5 of the blood energy in the blood elixir in the body has been stored, and it is still almost full. The cup of blood that Lin Tai gave him before had basically been digested by him, and the blood made his blood energy recover much faster. If he drinks some more blood, his blood energy should be restored to its peak again, and he can continue to try to control blood energy. The process of trying it consumes a lot of blood energy. Do you have any blood at home? I'd like to drink some." Su-jae asked. Lin Shiqing was a little strange. "What's wrong? Uncle Tai asked you to drink some before, and you are still addicted to it. I thought you would be more resistant to drinking blood, but I didn't expect it to be the complete opposite." Su-jae heard this and replied, "Not really, it's just that after I drink blood, my blood energy will recover much faster, which will give me more opportunities to try to manipulate blood energy. In the west of the clan land, there is plenty of blood, and that is where blood is brewed every day. As early as more than 100 years ago, the Lin clan members discovered that by adding herbs and some filtration treatments, the blood could become purer and provide more energy for the body, and it would also be better than without treatment, of blood or more easily absorbed. There are only two raw materials for brewing blood, one is blood extracted from humans, and the other is herbs. Obtaining the former is very simple. The Lin clan raises a lot of human slaves. These slaves must undergo sufficient training every day and eat simple and healthy food. The quality of their blood must be ensured, and they must eat more blood-enhancing food. In this way, the blood supply can be sufficient. The latter is obtained from local materials. There are many kinds of herbs near Silver Moon Mountain, so there is no need to worry about shortage. In addition, there is also a medicine garden in the open space on the western border of the clan land, which is planted with sufficient herbs. The glass of blood that Lin Shiqing was holding was the high-end product from the West Blood Brewery. Only vampires with a certain status in the clan were worthy of tasting it. Originally, Lin Shiqing didn't have many at home, but Lin Shiqing insisted on bringing some to Sujie because she wanted Sujie to eat something good. Walking into the bedroom, Sujie was already trying to control the blood energy. It has to be said that he has made rapid progress and has been able to maintain the blood energy in his hands for more than 10 seconds, but if he wants to fully control it, he may still need some effort. Here, this is the blood you want. This is the top blood in our family. It should be able to help you recover your physical strength quickly. Lin Shiqing handed the glass in her hand to Sujie. Sujie smiled. Thank you then. It doesn't matter, no one in my family drinks anyway. Lin Shiqing said nonchalantly. As everyone knows, this top-quality blood is the treasure of his father, Lin Xiaohua. If he knew that his daughter had given her treasure to Sujie, he would probably faint from anger. The blood in the cup is relatively clear. Even if you put the cup in front of your eyes, you won't see any impurities floating at all. Sujie drank it in one gulp, and he soon felt his lower abdomen began to heat up slightly, and then the blood began to melt and the blood energy increased. Unexpectedly, the blood this time made his blood energy recovery much faster. Soon, his blood energy returned to its peak, and the blood pill showed a coquettish red color. Then with the help of Lin Shiqing, he began to manipulate blood energy. This practice lasted until the early morning of the next day. As the sun gradually rose, a touch of blood energy appeared in Sujie's palm. The blood energy quickly turned into a stream of light under his control, hitting Lin Shiqing not far away. There was a trace of surprise in Lin Shiqing's eyes, and then with a wave of her right hand, she swallowed up Sujie's blood energy. I didn't expect that you would be able to control blood energy in just one night. Your talent is really strong. Lin Shiqing said in surprise. This may be because my mental power is relatively high. Sujie smiled and then said. Mental power indeed allowed him to comprehend many things much faster. His current progress is that he can use blood energy to create some small energy balls. The power of the energy balls has not been tested, but it is probably equivalent to 1/10 of the power of Lin Shiqing's energy balls. If Sujie reaches Lin Shiqing's level, his energy ball will probably be about as powerful as Lin Shiqing's energy ball. In addition, there are some small magical effects such as releasing blood energy on one's own body, increasing movement speed, and using blood energy to clean the room. Just when Sujie was rejoicing, Lin Shiqing's family welcomed a distinguished guest. This noble man has a dignified manner and resolute features. He is Lin Shiqing's fiancé, Lin Zan. After Lin Zan heard that Lin Shiqing was back, he wanted to visit her. In a few months, the adult vampires in the family who are over 180 years old will start the marriage ceremony. Lin Zan wanted to see her. What will this so-called fiancé look like? Holding 99 roses in his hand, he knocked on Lin Shiqing's door. Most vampires like roses, and Lin Shiqing should be no exception. With this in mind, Lin Zan personally selected these flowers. After all, it was the first time he went to his parents-in-law's house and it was indeed inappropriate to not take anything. And his parents are still out on a mission at this time and are not in the clan area, otherwise they would definitely be here today. Lin Zan couldn't wait to see what his fiancé looked like, so he went alone without waiting for his parents. In the house at this time, Lin Wen had not slept all night. She had been paying attention to the other side of Su Jie's room, worried that there would be some strange noises there, such as gasping. As a person who has been there, she naturally knows that when love comes, deep down, there was no guarantee that Lin Xiqing and Su Jie would not make some outrageous moves. What made her feel relaxed was that except for a few bangs, she didn't hear any other noises in Su Jie's room last night. When Lin Zan knocked on the door, Lin Wen was lying on her side in the room. When she heard the knock on the door, she thought her husband was back. She hurriedly dressed and got up. When she saw that it was Lin Zan, I was a little stunned. Lin Zan, as another talented 13th generation vampire from another branch of the family, Lin Zan's reputation in the family is well known. Lin Wen has met him a few times and can recognize him. A few months ago, Lin Wen learned that her daughter's marriage partner was Lin Zan in a list of marriage contracts for the new generation of blood circulated from within the Presbyterian Church. After she saw the 99 roses in Lin Zan's hand, she immediately understood that he must have known about the engagement arrangement, and he must have come to see Lin Xiqing this time. As expected, after Lin Zan nodded in agreement, he asked, "Auntie, I want to come and visit Lin Xiqing today. Is she at home? Is she convenient now?" For vampires, they generally don't need to rest 24 hours a day, and they only need to sleep for a while regularly, so visiting them in the early morning is not a failure. Lin Zan was drinking with a few friends at a pub in the clan last night. After hearing the news that Lin Xiqing had returned to the clan, he couldn't wait. "She's here. It should be convenient. Let me call her. Please wait a moment." Lin Wen greeted Lin Zan into the house. She felt a little uneasy, and she didn't know what Zhao King would do. Su Jie was still here. Wouldn't letting Lin Zan in bring them to war? Thinking of this, she regretted letting Lin Zan in. But it doesn't matter. Lin Zan will know about Su Jie's existence sooner or later, and Zhao King will also know about Lin Zan's nominal fiancé. Let Zhao King make the decision. Just let nature take its course. If my husband knew about this, he would definitely get angry again. "Zhao King, please come out for a moment. We have guests here. They are here to see you. My mother is calling me. I'll go down first," Lin Xiqing said to Su Jie after hearing her mother's voice. Su Jie nodded when he heard this. "Okay, anyway, I have been practicing all night and I am already very tired, so I will take a rest." Lin Xiqing opened the door and walked downstairs. At the same time, I was a little confused as to why my mother asked her to go down early in the morning. Lin Zan sat upright and looked at Lin Wen opposite. "Auntie, you look so young." Lin Zan admired sincerely, with a hint of flattery in his words. "No way. I'm already 400 or 500 years old, so why am I still young?" As a woman, Lin Wen was very happy for such praise, with a happy smile on her face. "Auntie is like the spring water on the banks of the Seine, gentle and beautiful." Lin Zan thought of some beautiful sentences he saw on his mobile phone last night, which should be more appropriate to use here. As everyone knows, as soon as this statement came out, Lin Wen immediately felt embarrassed and laughed twice. Isn't this a rustic love story? It's like toes touching the ground. Lin Zan didn't know what to say for a moment. He suddenly noticed footsteps coming from the stairs. It should be Lin Xiqing going downstairs. Lin Zan stood up very familiarly and looked at the beautiful figure on the stairs. Poetry. When Lin Xiqing heard someone calling her, she immediately turned her attention to the hall. An ordinary-looking man about 1.75 meters tall was standing there, looking at him. In her mind, Lin Xiqing silently compared her with Su Jie. She finally discovered that Su Jie's appearance and height instantly killed this man. His brows furrowed. This person just called himself poetry. Can poetry be called poetry by just any stranger? Lin Xiqing's first impression of this man immediately dropped. "Who are you?" "Let me introduce myself. My name is Lin Zan, and I am also your fiancé." Lin Zan smiled confidently. However, his confident smile seemed to Lin Xiqing to be full of confidence. "Fiancé? How come I haven't heard of you?" Lin Xiqing was even more confused, although she knew that when the age was suitable, the family would arrange a marriage partner for her. But she has just grown up now and should not have a fiancé at this time. "The family has not announced it yet, but our engagement is inseparable," Lin Zan said. He picked up the 99 roses on the side. Looking at Lin Shiqing in front of him, he was very satisfied. A very beautiful girl, completely beyond his expectations. If you can marry her, the vampire babies born in the future will definitely be very cute. Although it was only the first time, Lin Zan had already thought of the wedding scene and even thought of the name of the child. Poetry, these are the 99 roses I selected specifically for you. Although I don't know if you like roses, I think this should be able to express my feelings for you. Quote. When Lin Shiqing saw this, she didn't feel the slightest move, and she felt even more disgusted with Lin Zan. Lin Zan, I have to make it clear to you that I don't like what you do. We just met and your behavior makes me very embarrassed. Quote. Lin Zan still smiled, feeling good about himself. He just thought Lin Shiqing was being reserved. Lin Shiqing must be just embarrassed. She must have been happy for a long time, right? Although we have just met, I feel like I have met you in my previous life. Buddha said that only 500 times of looking back in the past life can lead to a passing by in this life, and only 500 passing by can lead to one acquaintance, and only 500 acquaintances can lead to one love. Shiqing, we will get married and give birth to a cute baby. I am looking forward to that day. Quote. Hearing Lin Zan's words, Lin Shiqing's face suddenly turned darker. Are you okay? What kind of earthy love talk? Now Lin Wen is not the only one who has her toes on the ground. Lin Shiqing has also started to have her toes on the ground. If Su Jie said this to her, Lin Shiqing would be very happy. But if it's Lin Zan, she's really disgusting. Lin Wen noticed something was wrong with Lin Shiqing's expression, so she quickly stepped forward. Zhao King has been feeling a little unwell lately. You'd better leave first. Lin Zan felt a little regretful when he heard this and nodded. Well, if I can see Shiqing today, my goal will be achieved, so I'll leave first. He looked at the rose in his hand and remembered that he hadn't given it away yet, so he stepped forward and handed the rose to Lin Shiqing. I won't accept the roses. You can take them. Lin Shiqing expressed her ugly refusal. Lin Zan was stunned. Still being reserved, right? Shiqing, I know you are still embarrassed. Lin Zan smiled knowingly, and then placed the rose on the coffee table next to him. Then I won't disturb you. Goodbye. After Lin Zan left, Lin Shiqing immediately asked. Mom, what's going on? Well, the clan has already started allocating marriage partners, but I haven't told you yet. This Lin Zan, some of the things he said were really embarrassing. Quote. More than that, he almost embarrasses me to death. I really can't stand such an ordinary and confident person. Lin Shiqing rolled her eyes and got goosebumps all over her body. Lin Wen laughed sarcastically, and then said, but Lin Zan's grandfather Lin Yuntian is a highly respected person in the clan. His lineage can be said to be prominent, so it would not be a loss for our family to marry theirs. Quote. When Lin Shiqing heard this, she quickly shook her head. Impossible, Mom, even though Lin Zan looks so average, his blood energy fluctuation is only at the 4th level. I don't like him, and I don't want to marry him. Quote. Just saying a few words to someone like Lin Zan made Lin Shiqing disgusted. In Lin Zan, she only saw arrogance and common faith. Zhao King, if the clan really releases a marriage allocation list, you will really have to marry Lin Zan by then. This is not your decision. Although your father and I did not obey the assignment at the beginning, our respective bloodlines are well matched within the clan, so we can reconcile in the end. If you don't like this Lin Zan, then choose one from other younger generations in the clan. Quote. After hearing her mother's words, Lin Shiqing immediately wanted to say something, but when the words came to her lips, she couldn't say them out. She wanted to try the feeling of falling in love with Su Jie. When she mentioned marriage just now, she immediately thought of Su Jie, and her face turned red. But I definitely didn't fall in love with him, I just had a crush on him. Right, Lin Shiqing would never admit that she liked Su Jie, otherwise how embarrassing would she be if she was rejected? It was only right that she let Su Jie chase her. I'm just entering adulthood and I don't want to get married so early. Lin Shiqing immediately went upstairs after saying this. Su Jie has become a vampire, his hearing is very developed, and he can easily hear the sounds downstairs in the bedroom. He heard clearly the conversation downstairs just now. Lin Shiqing went upstairs and walked straight to Su Jie's room. I'm so pissed off. That Lin Zan is really pissing me off. Lin Shiqing said angrily, and then told the story of the future again. What, you don't like him? Su Jie asked knowingly. I don't like people who are self-righteous. Then what do you like? Like, the second half of the sentence was swallowed by Lin Shiqing. I like you like this. It was noon when Lin Xiaohua and Yi Wei returned home. Yi Wei finally chose to drink the thrall potion, which meant that he submitted to the Lin clan and would continue to manage the Lin group for them. In order to help Yi Wei find the one he loves as soon as possible, Lin Xiaohua contacted several female blood slaves in the clan. 2 or 3 of them were very interesting to Yi Wei. He was thinking that he might be able to match them up, which could be regarded as a kind of compensation. Yi Wei will definitely be taken care of by him from now on. Lin Xiaohua's grandfather was a viscount, and his lineage still has a say in the clan. Under his care, Yi Hui's life will definitely not be any worse. In addition, Yi Hui's own abilities are not low, so it is normal for female blood slaves to be interested in him. One of them is called Bai Ying. The conditions of this female blood slave are very outstanding. She is 370 years old, the last vampire of the 4th level, and the purity of her bloodline is about 13 generations. Moreover, Bai Ying's blood master, Lin Feng, has a good relationship with Lin Xiaohua. At Lin Xiaohua's request, he has agreed to let Bai Ying and Yi Wei have contact, and allowed Bai Ying to go to Binhai together. This was considered a favor, and Lin Xiaohua could only repay Lin Feng in the future. Xiao Wen, Lin Xiaohua shouted as soon as he entered the door. Lin Wen walked out of the room and was very surprised when she saw Yi Wei. Yi Wei, are you here? There was unconcealable fatigue on Yi Hui's face. He smiled slightly and then said, Madam, I'm back. Husband, what's going on? Yi Wei was originally going to be executed, why was he suddenly released? The Presbyterian Council relented, but Yi Wei also drank the Sao magic potion. You know, this magic potion is actually to make Yi Wei continue to work for the family. But there is no other way. If they don't comply with the wishes of the Presbyterian Church, they will not let go. Quote. Lin Wen's expression froze and she looked at Yi Wei with great pity. Yi Wei, you have suffered. No, master, madam, I'm very grateful that you are willing to save my life. There are many blood slaves in our family. Basically, they will be executed when the blood master dies. I am extremely lucky to be alive. Quote, it's good that you think so, I'm afraid you won't be able to think about it. Lin Xiaohua was relieved. Also, wait a while, I will introduce you to a new person, and then you and her will handle the affairs over Binhai. Yi Wei was a little surprised when he heard this, really? In fact, I can do it alone. Isn't this to lighten your burden? You have done so much for the family, and I see it in my eyes. Now that the crisis of the blood clan in the West has been temporarily resolved, you should go to Binhai to enjoy life and so on. You don't have to work so hard. Lin Xiaohua patted Yi Wei on the shoulder. There was a sudden knock on the door. The distinguished guest is here. Lin Xiaohua smiled, then walked to the door and opened it. A sweet-looking woman with a proud figure stood at the door. Bai Ying, is that you? Lin Xiaohua said with a smile, I only saw your photos before, but now that I see you in person, I feel that you look much better in person than in the photos. Bai Ying twitched the hair around her ears and smiled sweetly. No, Brother Feng told me that you have extraordinary bearing. Now that I see you in person, you are indeed worthy of your reputation. Ha ha, Lin Xiaohua smiled. Bai Ying's mouth was really sweet. Such blood slaves can generally get along well in the family, and emotional intelligence is really a necessary thing. Moreover, Lin Xiaohua also learned that this Bai Ying seemed to have not been in any relationship yet, and she should still be a pure girl. This was the same as Yi Wei. Lin Xiaohua felt that it would be inappropriate to find a blood slave who was that kind of watery. He looked down on people who didn't love themselves. Bai Ying's external conditions are quite suitable for Yi Wei, so they can be considered for marriage. But it still depends on Yi Hui's attitude. Come in, Bai Ying. The thin face with double eyelids and a high nose bridge is Yi Wei. You should have seen his photo. Yes, Brother Feng did show it to me. Bai Ying walked into the hall, and after seeing Yi Wei, she immediately said hello. Yi Wei, I'm Bai Ying, nice to meet you. Bai Ying smiled and stretched out her fair and delicate hand. Yi Wei looked at Bai Ying in front of him and was a little stunned for a moment. The head of the family said he was looking for a helper. He thought it was a male blood slave, but he didn't expect it to be a female blood slave, and she was so beautiful. Yi Wei had little contact with other people in the family. After seeing Bai Ying, he actually became a little nervous. "Hello, I'm Yi Wei, nice to meet you." Yi Wei nodded and shook hands with Bai Ying. Q's smooth and tender hand was held, and Yi Wei became even more nervous. He is not afraid of people's jokes. He is still a complete novice in love. The time he had with Lin Meng 400 years ago also ended with him being turned into a blood slave. Except for Lin Meng, he had never held anyone's hand. When he was in Binhai, many subordinates of the Lin group secretly said that he was a monk or that he was incompetent. Yi Wei didn't take these rumors seriously. After all, he had lived for hundreds of years and would not be disturbed by such trivial matters. "Who is this?" After Bai Ying and Yi Wei shook hands, they looked at Lin Wen. "This is my wife, Lin Wen," Lin Xiaohua introduced from behind. "Hello, madam." Bai Ying nodded quickly in greeting. "Hello." Lin Wen was still wondering where her husband found this beautiful blood slave. "Yi Wei, you and Bai Ying should get to know each other. We will set off back to Binhai this afternoon. In the future, we will need the two of you to work together to take care of the Lin group and the housekeeper," Lin Xiaohua said. "Okay, Brother Hua." Yi Wei nodded. "If you agree, why don't you go over there and chat with Miss Bai for a while? Why are you so dull?" Lin Xiaohua's words made Yi Wei understand a little. This Bai Ying should be the person that the family wants to match for him, right? When he was in the dungeon, the head of the family had already mentioned to him that he wanted to have a family and a career for himself. "I didn't expect to find a candidate so quickly." Yi Wei looked at Lin Xiaohua with a complicated expression. After saving himself and finding such a beautiful partner for himself, he simply had nothing to repay. Bai Ying stretched out her hand and waved it in front of Yi Wei. "What are you doing in a daze? What are you thinking about?" Looking at the confused and delicate Bai Ying in front of him, Yi Wei came back to his senses and quickly shook his head. "It's nothing." He was a little overwhelmed, feeling like he was on a blind date, meeting someone he liked, and he was afraid of leaving a bad impression, so he became very nervous. "Has anyone said you look like Wu Yanju?" Bai Ying suddenly asked. "Ah." Yi Wei was stunned for a moment, then waved his hand quickly. "How is it possible? How could I be so handsome?" As we all know, Wu Yan is an adjective, but Yi Wei doesn't think he is that handsome. "Haha, they really look alike. Look at your nose and your eyebrows." Bai Ying laughed. Her eyes were like crescent moons, very cute. Yi Wei was infected by Bai Ying's smile, and he also laughed together. The atmosphere between the two of them also eased a lot and was no longer so awkward. He hasn't been this happy for a long time. Lin Xiaohua had already pulled Lin Wen aside to create an environment for the two of them to be alone. "Yi Wei, you must seize the opportunity. Don't be a coward." After Yi Hui's matter came to an end, Lin Wen told her husband about Lin Shiqing and Su Jie's matter in the bedroom next to her. "I feel that the relationship between Zhao King and Su Jie is unusual. It is very possible that they have already started to fall in love." Lin Wen said affirmatively. Lin Xiaohua frowned and replied, "Huh, isn't Zhao King and him just a pure friend and master-servant relationship now? Where does falling in love start?" Quote, "You don't know that just in the morning, Lin Zan, the fiancé designated by the family for Zhao King, came. He brought 99 roses. Zhao King's attitude towards Lin Zan was average. It seemed that she didn't like Lin Zan at all. I think she only thinks about Su Jie now. And last night, Zhao King and Su Jie were in the same room all night long." Quote, "What? A man and a woman are alone in the same room, and they stay all night? Why don't you stop it?" Lin Xiaohua suddenly became anxious. Could it be that his daughter had been by Su Jie? "No, of course I can understand it. If something really happened, I would definitely stop it. I kept listening downstairs, and I only heard two people trying to control blood energy. It was probably Su Jie. He had just become a blood servant and it was still difficult to control blood energy. He needed to practice for a while." Quote, Lin Wen recalled her daughter's eyes looking at Su Jie, full of enthusiasm and indulgence, which actually explained the problem. "It's not good to fall in love with anyone, but I fall in love with a blood servant. I really can't do anything about her. Lin Xiaohua also hoped that he could scare Su Jie away with his threats, but it didn't work in the end. However, he would look at Su Jie with high regard. This guy, at least he's not a coward. Lin Xiaohua hates timid people the most. They have no opinions at all and will shrink back casually. Let her choose her own happiness, and no one can interfere. Lin Xiaohua's eyes changed several times, and he felt a little bitter. You have to experience it yourself to know. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Lin Xiaohua and his wife, Su Jie, Lin Shiqing, Yi Wei and Bai Ying were preparing to return to Binhai. Before leaving, Yi Wei called Zhou Shuiming to confirm the current situation of the villa. Reconstruction work on the villa has begun, but it will take more than half a month to complete. So Zhou Shuiming arranged for another property, which was located in the east of Binhai, close to the city, and the surrounding scenery was good. This is an asset of the Lin Group and has been in an abandoned state before. Now it has been cleaned and looks brand new, making it much more livable. The most important thing is that the area is very sufficient, about 1,000 square meters. 8 spacious bedrooms, fully adequate for living. After seeing Zhou Shuiming's arrangement, Yi Wei was very satisfied. After all, he has been his assistant for a long time, and his work ability is indeed online. This time when I go back, I will definitely give her a raise. It was already 10 o'clock in the morning the next day when we arrived at the mountainside villa arranged by Zhou Shuiming. The 6 of them traveled day and night. After many twists and turns and different means of transportation, it took a lot of effort to get there. Zhou Shuiming also specially equipped 3 nannies. These nannies can take good care of the family's daily necessities and clean the house. Su Jie chose a room on the first floor, while Lin Shiqing lived next door to his room. Lin Xiaohua criticized this choice and believed that Lin Shiqing and Su Jie should not live in adjacent rooms. But after Lin Shiqing's hard persuasion and hard work, Lin Xiaohua finally reluctantly agreed. At the same time, he became more certain that his daughter must have taken a liking to Su Jie. It would be really difficult to change her mind in the future. Yi Wei and Bai Ying also live next door to each other, in the other corner of the first floor. Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen live on the second floor. Bai Ying heard that Yi Wei was going to the Lin Group to handle matters, so she followed him, preparing to familiarize herself with the company's affairs in advance. Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen were preparing to go to the villa where they lived before to check the specific situation and see if they could get back some of their previous items. Whether they did it intentionally or not, only Su Jie, Lin Shiqing and Lin Shiqing's pet spider, Xiaofen, were left in the huge house. During the previous period, Xiaofen was entrusted to Zhou Shuiming. Zhou Shuiming has always been afraid of this spider, but finally agreed. Xiaofen will not attack people she is familiar with, so Zhou Shuiming's safety is still guaranteed. Xiaofen was very excited to see everyone coming back. Zhou Shuiming was also very happy, she could finally send the big spider back. Who knows how she lives these days? Every night, when she got up to go to the bathroom, she could always see Xiaofen's shining red eyes. This scene was so terrifying that it almost made her autistic. Even if she knew that Xiaofen wouldn't attack her, she still had to be afraid. Lin Shiqing looked at the huge villa empty, and the nanny had left. Cleaning can basically be done with blood energy. There is no need to worry about eating. They are vampires. How can any vampire need to cook? This time when he came to Binhai, Lin Xiaohua brought several large boxes of finely brewed blood. This blood has been refrigerated and stored and can be stored for a long time. Lin Shiqing and Su Jie looked at each other inadvertently, and they immediately understood each other's thoughts. However, Su Jie is still a vampire. If he wants to drink blood, he must first become a human. So he used his skills and turned into a human first. His heart started beating again and his blood began to flow. After his body temperature returned to normal, Su Jie looked at Lin Shiqing. Lin Shiqing also looked at him. Su Jie, let's get started. Good. It was another blood-sucking experience that was ordinary but exciting to Su Jie. After Lin Shiqing finished sucking the blood, she licked the wound with her uvula and healed it. From Su Jie's perspective, this scene is somewhat astringent. After this blood-sucking, Su Jie's various attributes increased again. But the increase in attribute points is no longer the key, the lottery opportunity is the key. What can you draw this time? The second level prize pool should be much better than the first level prize pool. Maybe you can draw some good stuff yourself. Although Su-jae knew that his luck had not been very good, he still wanted to believe that he was a European emperor at this moment. Lin Shiqing cheered Su-jae up. Come on, something good will come out this time. Su-jae nodded with a smile and clicked the lottery button. Ship the goods to me. When Su-jae saw that golden light, he felt that this time it must be stable. Under normal circumstances, when there is no good stuff, there won't be any light, and in most cases it will be white light. But the golden light means that the highest reward has been drawn. He had seen golden light twice in total, when he drew the transform into a vampire and time stop skills. This shows that the rewards drawn this time are either large attribute points or advanced skills. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining all attributes plus 50 feet. 50. Su-jae's eyes widened. Before he could be happy, severe pain began to spread throughout his body. This severe pain is similar to the first time I drew 10 attribute points, but this time the full attribute is increased to 50, and the pain is obviously even more intense. I'm sorry, why does it hurt so much? Su-jae curled up on the bed like a little shrimp. Every cell in the body is changing violently. They are frantically absorbing nutrients, and then divide and strengthen. After this time, all his attributes have basically exceeded 100. Compared to ordinary people, it is already the combined efforts of more than 10 ordinary people. An average man's full-strength punch is about 100 to 150 kilograms. Taking a middle value of 125 kilograms, the power of Su-jae's punch now is probably at least 1 ton and 500 kilograms. It's unimaginable what would happen if such a punch hit someone. The full force of the yak's collision was only about 1 ton. Under such an impact, no one could survive. The organs in the body will rupture directly, and most of the bones will be broken. The yak's impact force area is still large. Su-jae's punch is concentrated at one point, the pressure is too terrifying, and it can basically penetrate a person directly. It's easy to tear apart Japanese soldiers with your hands, right? Although this kind of power is extremely powerful, for the vampires, physical damage is not that important. The most important thing is the magic damage. The vampire's recovery ability is very strong. Even if a punch hits, the injury can be quickly healed by the blood energy. Although Su-jae is now a humanoid tank, he really doesn't have much advantage when facing the vampires. The severe pain in Su-jae's body was still spreading, and he groaned a few times. Lin Shiqing, who was beside him, was very nervous when he saw this, and asked with concern, "Are you okay? Does it look like I'm okay?" Su-jae gritted his teeth and tried his best to say. There was a stench coming from his body, and the stench made Lin Shiqing feel like vomiting. "Su-jae, are you wearing it? Why do you smell so bad?" Lin Shiqing said helplessly, but she did not stay away. Because she knew that Su-jae needed her very much now. So even though it smelled bad, Lin Shiqing still persuaded herself and suppressed the feeling of wanting to vomit. "Those are impurities on the body. Go to the bathroom and put a bath of water in it. Just make it cool," Su-jae said shakily. "This is really exciting. System, you are so kind to me." Upon hearing this, Lin Shiqing immediately ran to the bathroom nearby and filled a full bathtub of water. "Su-jae, the water has been put away. I'll take you there." Regardless of the stickiness and stench on Su-jae's body, Lin Shiqing resolutely carried him on her back, walked to the bathroom, and put him in the bathtub. Lin Shiqing's back turned black, covered with the sludge that Su-jae had expelled just now. The water in the bathtub was instantly dyed black, with greasy and black impurities floating on the surface. After entering the bathtub, Su-jae felt that the severe pain in his body was instantly relieved. Lin Shiqing stretched out her right hand and took Su-jae's hand. She squatted next to the bathtub with a concerned look on her face. She still hasn't figured out the situation yet. She thinks that Su-jae's body may have encountered some extremely bad conditions, as if he suddenly suffered a serious illness. "Su-jae, how are you? Are you still hurting?" Su-jae squeezed out a smile and shook his head. "It really doesn't hurt. Don't worry, it will be fine in a while." 30 minutes later, the pain on Su-jae's body gradually disappeared and he felt much more relaxed. Slowly opening his eyes, he saw Lin Shiqing very close at hand. "I successfully survived this transformation." Su Jie said with a smile on his face. I was really lucky this time. All my attribute points made a leap, and my strength doubled. It was precisely because of the rapid advancement in strength that my body was temporarily unable to bear it, so I excreted so many impurities and the severe pain that followed. Now, it's all over. Quote, after listening to Su Jie's words, Lin Shiqing finally felt relieved. Great, I thought how you were doing. She hugged Su Jie tightly. Su Jie's hands were hanging in the air, feeling Lin Shiqing's warm embrace and feeling a little overwhelmed. Perhaps it was the strong stench from Su Jie's body that made Lin Shiqing sober up a lot, and she let go of Su Jie. You really stink. It stinks but you still hug me. Quote. I'll just hug you. What's wrong, can't you? Okay, why not? The corners of Su Jie's mouth turned up slightly. The clothes on Lin Shiqing's chest were all stained with black stains. She also had to take a shower now. You have to take a shower too. Your front and back are all dirty. Su Jie reminded. It's not all your fault. Lin Shiqing glared at Su Jie and said angrily. Then let's have a mandarin duck bath. Lin Shiqing's face immediately turned crimson. She slapped Su Jie. What have you been thinking about all day long? You still have a mandarin duck bath, you really dare to think about it? After saying this, she immediately stood up. I'm going to take a shower first, but you must not peek. Su Jie shrugged. Yeah, if you don't want to see it, don't read it. But I was thinking to myself, if you say you don't want to watch it, you won't watch it. After Lin Shiqing returned to the room to take a shower, Su Jie turned on the shower and began to wash away the dirt on her body. A feeling of full strength permeated the whole body, and the spirit became clearer than ever before. He has a feeling that if he were allowed to play FPS games or MOBA games now, he would be invincible. It's not his fault. This type of online game tests your reaction. If your reaction is high, you've basically got the upper hand. Coupled with his current mental leap, his brain's computing speed is also much faster. It can be said that it is easy to defeat average players in this type of game. This is also the reason why Lin Shiqing rarely plays online games. Her reflexes and calculation skills are very strong. With such abnormal attributes, rising to a higher rank is as easy as eating and drinking. Even when facing some so-called 100-star players, it is still a dimensionality reduction blow. Invincible is really lonely as snow. This is the same as cheating. It is meaningless to play with such dimensionality reduction attacks. Sometimes, you really don't know what your opponent will be like. One day, I was tortured to the point of being turned into a dog. Perhaps the strongest MVP on the opposite side was actually a vampire. I was bored and opened the game, killing people like melons and vegetables. Under such circumstances, it would be strange not to lose. With thoughts surging, Su Jie immediately opened his personal attributes panel. Host, Su Jie. Power, 101. Spirit, 103. Speed, 102. Defense, 99. Skills, Time Stop, Elementary Transformation into a Vampire. Lamb Group Building. As soon as Yi Wei got out of the car, he saw Zhou Shueming standing at the door of the first floor with a smile on his face. Mr. Yi, you are finally back. In the past few days, Zhou Shueming has temporarily replaced Yi Wei to handle the company's affairs, and she is somewhat tired. Without Yi Wei, Zhou Shueming felt that her work had lost its direction. Looking at the empty office, she missed that tall figure. Xiao Zhou, I'm also troubling you during this time. A smile appeared on Yi Hui's face, and then he said. His condition is much better now, maybe it's because of Bai Ying. With Bai Ying here, he was taken care of and comforted for a long time. The unpleasant memories from the past have also faded a lot. The impact of Thrall's potion is not that great. It is an instantaneous poison. As long as the antidote is taken regularly, there will usually be no adverse reactions. Bai Ying got out of the car with Yi Wei. As soon as her beautiful figure appeared at the gate, she attracted the attention of many people. With fair skin, beautiful appearance and long legs, it's hard not to attract attention. After Zhou Shueming saw Bai Ying, her eyes suddenly froze. Mr. Yi, what is this? Oh, this is Miss Bai Yingbai. From now on, she will serve as the vice president of our group and assist me in managing the entire company. Yi Wei introduced to Zhou Shueming. On the way here, Yi Wei had already introduced some information about Zhou Xueming to Bai Ying, which allowed Bai Ying to establish a preliminary impression of the young girl in front of her. She smiled skillfully and greeted gently, "Hello, I'm Bai Ying." Mr. Bai, hello. Zhou Xueming's expression changed, and she silently guessed in her heart that this vice president who fell from the sky could be Mr. Yi's wife, right? But that's right. Judging from Mr. Yi's appearance, he is already in his 30s. It's normal to start a family and start a business. But why is my heart so empty? Zhou Xueming walked in front, followed by Yi Wei and Bai Ying. Mr. Yi, as well as Mr. Bai, there is nothing going on in the company these days, so we will continue to work according to the previous process. A few points worth noting are the renovation of the old community in the west of the city and the sales situation of Kangxin homes. Zhou Xueming reported her work absent-mindedly, glancing at Bai Ying from time to time, trying to get some clues from her. Taking the elevator from the first floor to the top floor, Zhou Xueming just finished reporting on the focus of her recent work. Well, just follow your ideas. There is nothing wrong with your approach. It seems that I can trust you to deal with the problem in the future. Yi Wei nodded in praise. Zhou Xueming smiled and smoothed the strands of hair around her ears. Well, thank you, Mr. Yi, for the compliment. When they arrived at the office, Yi Wei let Zhou Xueming go and asked her to continue working. He wanted to talk to Bai Ying about something. Bai Ying is a bit like Lin Shiqing. She also likes desserts and sweeter drinks. She held a cup of burnt ambrosia in her hand. Vampires didn't have to worry about gaining weight. She could drink as much as she wanted without losing her shape at all. After taking a breath, Bai Ying looked at Yi Wei mysteriously. Although it is my first time to come to the company, I feel like I have discovered a secret. Yi Wei looked at Bai Ying doubtfully. What secret? That girl named Zhou Xueming seems to like you. Bai Ying smiled, revealing her white teeth. Ah, you men are so careless. Didn't you notice that she has been secretly looking at me? I can still feel that her eyes are somewhat jealous. Bai Ying analyzed. No, Xiao Zhou and I are both teachers and friends. When she graduated from the University of Finance and Economics, I asked her to start as a clerk in the company. I taught her a lot of things and sometimes we would go out with her. Take a walk, chat or something. She should regard me as a friend. It is normal for friends to like me. There should not be the same kind of affection between opposite. Yi Wei shook his head. Little girls usually have a filter for their bosses, not to mention you are still the president. It is normal for her to have some feelings or something after getting along with you day and night. Bai Ying, your analysis makes sense, but you also know that we can no longer be called human beings. Even if she likes me, so what, I can't be with her. Bai Ying shrugged. I'm just doing a casual analysis. Besides, depending on the owner's wishes, we have to be together. When will we get married? As he spoke, Bai Ying came closer. The beautiful and lovely face was so close, and the watery eyes flickered, making Yi Wei a little distracted. Ahem, don't worry about this. Yi Wei quickly averted his eyes. He hadn't had such close contact with the opposite gender for a long time. The scent of Bai Ying's body reached his nose. Why do you act like a little boy? Bai Ying giggled. Faced with such provocation, Yi Wei admitted that it was indeed difficult for him to resist. With a helpless smile, he turned on the computer. Let's talk about work first. On the other side, Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen have arrived at Shilin Villa, outside the former villa. Having already said hello in advance, Chen Guangsheng, who was in charge of the villa restoration work, came over immediately after seeing Lin Xiaohua and his wife. Mr. Lin, Mrs. Lin, hello. Lin Xiaohua nodded slightly, and then asked, how many things in the villa can be salvaged? Well, about a third of it, mainly because the villa collapsed, and many items have been crushed, but many of the items that were kept in cabinets are still intact. Not many large objects are intact, but many small objects have been rescued. Quote. Regarding this emergency repair, Chen Guangsheng had many doubts. For example, why are there coffins and some bottles of blood in the villa? Is it human blood or animal blood? There are many strange places like this. But he knew that these were secrets and he was not qualified to ask, let alone reveal them. The people under my command also understand this. They are only responsible for working and never talk much. They are very aware of the influence of the Lin group in Binhai, and the only consequence for talking too much is death. Don't talk about a society ruled by law. In front of such a powerful and large company, it is easy for a person to disappear from the world. Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen nodded, looked around and found signs that the villa's defense system had been activated. It seems that the invasion of Western vampires almost cost her daughter her life. Fortunately, nothing happened to my daughter. Otherwise, Lin Xiaohua will never let him go in this life. Mr. Lin, do you have any other instructions? Chen Guangsheng asked enthusiastically. You will send the intact items to this address later. Lin Xiaohua told Chen Guangsheng the location of his new home. Okay, we will do it. In addition, the repair work of the villa should be carried out as soon as possible, and it is best to be completed within a month. Lin Xiaohua ordered. 1 month is a bit difficult. Chen Guangsheng muttered secretly in his heart, but still nodded. Okay, we will complete it within a month. After taking a shower, Su Jie wiped his body while calming down and feeling the energy contained in his body. The doubling of attribute points this time has indeed brought him a big improvement. Just by intuitive feeling, he could detect the surging power contained in his body. I just don't know that the average attribute of 100 points is roughly equivalent to several levels of the last vampire. This is a question worth thinking about. Attribute points correspond to the vampire realm. How are they converted? He still hasn't come to a definite conclusion. Wait for a while, after he activates the skill, he can check it by himself. A waning moon is the first level, and the following new moon is the peak. Su Jie recalled what Lin Shiqing told him before about the method of determining realm. As long as you calm down and look at the blood elixir in your lower abdomen, you can know your specific state. He immediately activated the transform into a vampire skill. The fangs grow, the heart stops, the blood coagulates, and the skin turns pale. Everything changes in an instant. The pupils were also stained with a faint blood red. He was busy looking at the blood elixir. Sinking his consciousness into his body, he swayed slowly. Not far away, there was a blood-red ball that looked like a fruit, surging with strands of blood energy. That's where the blood pill is. And above it, there are actually 3 waning moons. And the 4th new moon has not yet condensed. This shows that his strength has reached the 3rd level of Blood Clan. There is no new moon born, which means that he is in the early stage of the 3rd level. The last 3rd level vampire is already almost as powerful as Lin Shiqing. And inferring from this, Su Jie almost understood the conversion between attribute points and vampire realm. Every 50 attribute points can correspond to the realm of the last vampire of the 1st level. By analogy, when his average attribute point value exceeds 150, he will be promoted to a 4th level vampire. 1 to 50, the last of the 1st order vampires. 51 to 100, the last 2nd level vampire. 101 to 150, the last generation of the 3rd level vampire. ... Continues down. I just don't know if the attribute points corresponding to the Baron's level are still 50. But it shouldn't be possible. After all, the higher the realm, the harder it is to practice. As the realm increases after the Baron, the corresponding attribute points will also increase by a certain multiple. While thinking about it, Su Jie felt relieved. According to the current progress, he will soon be able to break through to the 9th level of the last vampire. The attribute points corresponding to the 9th level vampires are only 401 to 450. He was certain of this. If you draw a lottery, even if there is no critical hit, the attribute points that will be improved will be at least 10 to 20 points at a time. This is a 2nd level prize pool, and it must be much better. Now he was still 300 away from 401. He needed to let Lin Shiqing drink blood a dozen times before he could be promoted to the 9th level of the last vampire. If a blood-sucking cycle lasts for 2 or 3 days, it would only last more than a month. Su Jie's heart was suddenly filled with fighting spirit. He was really fed up with feeling powerless. No matter before, facing the 2 invading Western vampires. He still bowed his head when facing Lin Shiqing's father, Lin Xiaohua. It all made him feel bad. After suppression there must be an explosion. The latter was understandable. After all, he had kidnapped Lin Shiqing, so it was okay for his father-in-law to vent his anger on her. The key is that the potential threat of Western vampires makes Su Jie feel uneasy. This world is still not peaceful. Rapidly improving his strength is what he should do, and it is also the most important point. In the bathroom next door, a beautiful body was being wiped. Lin Shiqing's brows wrinkled slightly. She felt a little hot. This heat started after sucking Su Jie's blood. This made her a little confused. At the same time, she saw that the blood elixir in her lower abdomen was undergoing a huge change. The new moon after 3 waning moons is transforming towards the waning moon. The blood is absorbed and digested, and then turns into strands of blood energy that are absorbed into the blood elixir. Is this a breakthrough? Lin Shiqing's face showed a joyful smile. She has been stuck in the realm of the 3rd level last vampire for 20 years, and she never thought that she would finally break through. The breakthrough was basically due to Su Jie's blood. During these days of sucking Su Jie's blood, she felt that she had improved more than she had in the past few years. Originally, it would take more than 10 years for her to break through to the 4th level vampire. As a result, it is now so far ahead of schedule. Su Jie's blood really improved him greatly. Lin Shiqing closed her eyes and felt the transformation of the blood elixir in her body. Very comfortable feeling. Breaking through the realm, isn't it an evolution? Cold water sprayed from the shower, slightly cooling Lin Shiqing's hot body. 20 minutes later, Lin Shiqing saw the 4 waning moons above her blood pill, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. She is now a 4th level vampire. After wiping herself, she wanted to tell Su Jie the good news immediately. But just when she walked out of the bathroom, she noticed a wave of 3rd level vampires next door. Who is that? Lin Shiqing's expression changed drastically. It suddenly became cold again. Now she is no longer the 3rd level last generation vampire she used to be. She didn't think she would lose when she encountered an intruder who was 1 level lower than herself. Raising her eyebrows slightly, she wrapped herself in a bathrobe and walked out of the room. Will Su Jie be okay? Probably not. If a battle wave broke out, I would have noticed it long ago. The key is that this wave of 3rd level blood clan came too fast. She had been immersed in the breakthrough realm just now, so she didn't notice it at the first time. The blood energy transformed into a bloody blade. Lin Shiqing broke through the door and pointed directly at the enemy's heart. Aha! Su Jie looked at the aggressive Lin Shiqing and was immediately dumbfounded, and hurriedly hid to the side. He never expected that he would be assassinated by Lin Shiqing. Lin Shiqing was also confused. The moment she saw Su Jie's face, she quickly wanted to take back the blood blade. But it's too late. Su Jie quickly activated the short time stop and hid aside. The bloody blade did not attack him in the end. Snapped. The bloody blade shattered the glass behind him, and glass shards fell to the floor. What are you doing? Su Jie was stunned. No, I noticed the aura of the last 3rd level vampire, so I came over quickly to kill the intruder, but I didn't expect it was you. Lin Shiqing was shocked and quickly explained. There was some grievance in the words. Fortunately, I still have the time stop skill, otherwise I would have been dead or injured. Su Jie said helplessly. Didn't I do this to rescue you? I'm sorry, Lin Shiqing said apologetically. Su Jie stepped forward and patted her little head. Isn't this okay? Don't blame yourself. Although you were indeed a bit aggressive just now. You are a tiger. Lin Shiqing waved her pink fist, and then looked at Su Jie in disbelief. So you have broken through to the 3rd level now. Of course, I'm awesome. Su Jie raised the corners of his mouth, feeling like he was the Dragon King with a crooked mouth. Amazing, indeed amazing, your system is really powerful. Lin Shiqing said sincerely. From the 1st level to the 3rd level, it was achieved so easily. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would never have believed it. But at this moment, Su Jie suddenly remembered the familiar mechanical and electronic sound. Ding! I feel Lin Shiqing's admiration for this system. This system is very happy and will reward the host with a 20-point increase in all attributes. Did the system award an additional 20 points? This can be considered an unexpected surprise. Su Jie showed a satisfied smile. 20 points is already a lot, equivalent to 2/5 of a small realm's improvement. According to normal accumulation, it would take several years for a vampire to make such progress. Feeling the gift from the system, Su Jie's body felt a little painful to a certain extent. But these pains are far less painful than before. Hey, why do you smell bad again? Lin Shiqing asked in surprise. A lot of black impurities appeared on Su-jae's body again, and a stench swept over him. But the stench was much lighter than before. Su-jae has discovered that if the increase in all attributes is less than 10, there will be no particularly obvious impurities on the skin. But if it exceeds 10, this improvement will be somewhat obvious and will bring many stinking impurities. Maybe it's because he's still too weak now. If he were stronger, this improvement wouldn't expel many impurities. Only by expelling the dirt from the body can we usher in a more glorious evolution. If you don't know it, you won't know. If you don't know it, you will be shocked. Su-jae really didn't know that there was so much dirt accumulated in his body. I improved my strength just now, so I discharged some impurities again. It's really a headache, Su-jae said helplessly. He had to take a bath again. Lin Shiqing suddenly said, "Wait a minute, your strength has improved so much, your blood quality should also improve a lot, right?" Su-jae was stunned when he heard this, and then nodded. "That's for sure. After all, as your physique increases, your blood quality will also increase accordingly." Lin Shiqing is a little curious now. How terrible will the quality of Su-jae's blood be now? But now was not the time. Smelling the stench that continued to emit from Su-jae's body, she expressed her gratitude. Let's wait until Su-jae is clean before talking about blood sucking. Although she was curious now, Su-jae walked to the bathroom and washed it again. 2 sets of clothes were discarded in the trash can nearby. Both sets of clothes were stained with a lot of black impurities, and the smell was too pungent, so he decided to throw away the clothes directly. Although this is a bit wasteful, Su-jae now has more than 1 million in money, so there is no need to save at all. Recalling the suicide note he left in the network disk just to be on the safe side when he first went to the tribe, there seems to be no need to keep the suicide note now. Open the network disk and delete the suicide note directly. Then open the bank's app. The string of numbers above couldn't help but make Su-jae's eyes change. More than 1,130,000 W. If you work normally, how long will it take to earn this money? But for rich people, this little money is nothing. As long as you put tens of millions in the bank, you can earn millions in income every year. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It felt like money was nothing important in Lin Shiqing's eyes. If this were placed on Su-jae more than half a month ago, then money would be too important. But for him now, it is no longer difficult to have money. Take a shower and relax. Su-jae's life has ushered in a new change. But he still doesn't know where the endpoint will be. After Su-jae took a shower, he just opened the bathroom door and saw Lin Shiqing sitting by the bed. "Why are you here?" Su-jae was a little confused. "I came to see you." "No." Lin Shiqing's expression was full of coquettishness. "I take it you want to smoke again." Lin Shiqing looked at Su-jae at this time, her eyes glowing red. As for why, the scent of blood on Su-jae's body now is simply difficult to describe in words, it is extremely tempting. "Didn't you just finish smoking once?" Su-jae was a little confused. "Yes, but after I broke through the realm just now, I consumed a lot of blood energy, and the blood in my body has basically been digested," Lin Shiqing said. That's it. Su-jae did not resist blood-sucking. After all, it was very beneficial to him. It's not impossible to win the European Emperor again in the next lottery, and increase the attribute points to hit the critical hit, and break through to the 4th level. Lying on the bed, Su-jae made a big pose. "Come on, be gentle." The way Su-jae looked at death as though he were dead was a bit funny, which made Lin Shiqing laugh. "I don't know, I thought you were going to be beheaded." She licked her lips, then couldn't bear it anymore and lay down. Su-jae was sucked blood again, but this time Su-jae was not lucky and only got plus 10 points for all attributes. But he was already very satisfied. On top of the blood elixir in the body, a crescent moon slowly condensed. The last generation of the 3rd level vampire is approaching its peak in the late stage. Let's stop here. Perhaps the frequent blood-sucking made Lin Shiqing a little tired. She closed her eyes, lay down next to Su-jae, and fell asleep. Looking at the cute face so close, Su-jae couldn't hold back. He kissed her on the face like a chicken pecking at rice. Su-jae raised his head, feeling as if he had committed a crime and feeling a little guilty. Her soft face feels so good to kiss. Teacher Luo's classic emoticon came to his mind. Do you know you're breaking the law? Single quote. He was addicted to the kiss, so he pecked it again. It's funny to say that Soo-jae and his ex-girlfriend, the female Sea King Shu-ru, have been dating for several months. They didn't even kiss, and the most intimate gesture was just holding hands. And she and the other financial backers had already reached the top. This is another point that makes Soo-jae feel sick. The girlfriend I am dating sincerely is secretly a swordsman who can do anything for money. Only a Tauren would be ecstatic, right? It's really hard to accept a pure love warrior like Soo-jae. He almost turned black. He secretly stroked Lin Shiqing's face a few more times. The pair of eyelashes trembled slightly, beautiful and holy. He felt that his torn heart was slowly healing. This time he kissed Lin Shiqing's forehead. At the same time, he said softly, "It's such a blessing to meet you." It's a pity that Lin Shiqing didn't wake up. She was indeed still asleep. Like in ordinary TV series or movies, the heroine should be awake at this time and hear everything. But this is reality. There is no such thing in reality. He was so deep in sleep that he didn't notice the few kisses on his face or the slight sounds around him. Isn't there news about a woman being done unspeakable things in her sleep? As long as you don't make any major movements during sleep, it is difficult to wake up. Soo-jae gathered up Lin Shiqing's broken hair, his thoughts wandered, and he entered a state of fugue. At this moment, Soo-jae suddenly heard messy footsteps coming from the door. At the same time, it was also accompanied by strong blood energy fluctuations. To have such a powerful fluctuation is definitely because Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen are back. Soo-jae's eyes were startled and he realized a serious problem. Lin Xiaohua came back and saw his daughter in his room. Ruined. It makes me so sour just thinking about it. But it is undoubtedly too late to remedy the situation now. It's all my fault that I didn't realize in advance that Lin Xiaohua was almost home. But you can't blame him. After all, Lin Xiaohua usually restrains his blood energy fluctuations when outside. Otherwise, just such blood energy fluctuations could kill the surrounding humans. For the vampires, releasing blood energy fluctuations will generate powerful pressure and cause considerable harm. Such coercion does not have a great impact on other vampires, but it does serious harm to ordinary people. It can cause hallucinations at worst, or lead to death directly. After returning home, Lin Xiaohua relaxed, so he stopped being restrained and let go of the blood energy fluctuations. Only then did Soo-jae become aware of his approach. Lin Xiaohua's footsteps were getting closer and closer. Soo-jae said that he was ready to die and would have to start all over again. He straightened his clothes, stood up, and opened the door first. The figures of Lin Xiaohua and Lin Wen appeared in sight. They had just returned from Shilin Villa. When he first arrived downstairs, Lin Xiaohua noticed that his daughter's blood energy was fluctuating in Soo-jae's room. What surprised him was that his daughter's fluctuations were much stronger, and she must have broken through. I didn't expect my daughter to become the last 4th level vampire so quickly. This made Lin Xiaohua a little unbelievable. But he was quickly ignited by anger. Why is my daughter in Soo-jae's room? I went out for a trip and my house was robbed. With a gloomy face, Lin Xiaohua looked at Soo-jae standing at the door. Why is Zhao King in your room? What did you do? Nothing was done, it's just that she fell asleep and should need to sleep for a while. Soo-jae answered truthfully. Have you ever done that with her? Lin Xiaohua's face became even more gloomy. You'd better think carefully before answering, and don't try to deceive me. What? Soo-jae was stunned. Lin Wen understood what her husband meant. Of course it's about giving birth to a baby. You probably don't have one, right? She secretly murmured in her heart. If she really did it, I'm afraid her husband would tear Soo-jae in half. Ah, of course not. Soo-jae said firmly. He just kissed me twice on the cheek and once on the forehead. He didn't do that. If he really did something indescribable, it would really be too much. Soo-jae considers himself not the kind of person who thinks with his lower body. He would not do that without Lin Shiqing's permission. As for a few kisses on the face, it's not a big problem. Everything has a bottom line. From Soo-jae's eyes, Lin Xiaohua saw sincerity, and he felt relieved. It probably hasn't been done yet. The senses of vampires are extremely sensitive and can be called walking lie detectors. Whether an average person is lying or not can be inferred just by looking at his tone, movements, and expressions when he answers. But Soo-jae is an ordinary person. After his mental power increased, his acting skills also improved a lot. Then why are you in the same room? Lin Xiaohua asked. Shiqing drank some blood, and then she felt a little sleepy. Because she drank it in my room, she fell asleep on my bed. Soo-jae said. You didn't do anything bad, right? Lin Xiaohua asked suddenly. He actually did it, kissed his cheek twice and his forehead. But it was obviously impossible for Soo-jae to say it stupidly. No, Lin Xiaohua narrowed his eyes slightly. After a while. Okay, I believe you this time. Soo-jae felt relieved. His expression was impeccable and did not make Lin Xiaohua suspicious. Don't let Zhao King sleep with you in the future. Please note that you are a blood slave and she is your master. How can a master sleep in a slave's room? Soo-jae nodded. Right now, he doesn't have great strength, so his wretched development is the first priority. When he gains strength, Lin Xiaohua will definitely change his views on him until he accepts his union with Lin Shiqing. At the current speed, it really won't take long. Just stay here. Before you have strength, everything is just talk. Then you go to other rooms to rest first. After Zhao King wakes up, you can return to your room. Lin Xiaohua said. Okay, Soo-jae nodded. On the third day, the sun rose as usual. Soo-jae and Lin Shiqing need to go to school today. The reason was that Lin Shiqing said she was going to the library to find some books. Soo-jae didn't know what Lin Shiqing wanted to do, so he agreed. After a day of rest and sleep yesterday, Lin Shiqing's condition has returned to her original state, and she is in high spirits. Looking back on these days, Soo-jae never went to school. Zhang Zilin, a good friend of the same major, also asked him several times why he never came. He didn't reply much. After seeing few replies, Zhang Zilin thought Soo-jae had been killed, so he hurriedly called Soo-jae. The final result was that he knew that Soo-jae was still alive, but he still expressed doubts about his long-term absence from school. Soo-jae didn't explain much. He couldn't say that he had become a vampire and had a system. In the restaurant on the first floor, the windows were tightly closed and thick black curtains were drawn. Only a few dim candle lights flickered, providing a faint light. Lin Shiqing and Soo-jae sat at the dining table. There were 6 people sitting at the dining table. Yi Wei, Bai Ying, Lin Xiaohua, Lin Wen, Lin Shiqing and Soo-jae. There are more than a dozen goblets on the dining table, and the cups are filled with clear blood. As soon as Lin Shiqing sat down, her mother Lin Wen said, "This is the top quality blood that was just delivered. It tastes very good. If you try it, it will still be very fresh." Lin Shiqing nodded and then took a bite. It was indeed good. She drank 2 glasses of blood in succession. It was a feast. Yi Wei walked into the kitchen and brought over a cream cheese cake. If he had known that Lin Shiqing liked sweets, he would have prepared them in advance. "Thank you, Uncle Yi," Lin Shiqing said in surprise. "Your Aunt Bai Ying made this together with me. She put in more effort than me. I'm not very good at making cakes. She taught me many steps. She is really good at making sweets, so you will be in good hands from now on," Yi Wei said with a smile. Yesterday afternoon, Bai Ying and Yi Wei worked together to make a cake. The distance between the two became closer because of this cooperation. As the saying goes, if men and women work together, the work will not be tiring. There is indeed a certain truth to this. Yi Wei and Bai Ying finished the cake while chatting and laughing, and it didn't feel like they expended much energy at all. Bai Ying's baking skills are very good, which is good news for Lin Shiqing, who loves sweets. Seeing that Bai Ying and Yi Wei were getting along well, the corners of Lin Xiaohua's mouth turned up slightly, and he was very pleased. It seems that his efforts to bring the two together have achieved initial results. Lin Wen also had an anti-smile on her face, and started thinking about how to arrange a wedding for the two of them. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.